Hello.
Hello, everyone. We are. Yep, that's my intro. Just hello.
Hi.
Hello. We are a professional um
Very
channel
professional,
and show.
very
Yes, we know what we're doing.
organized.
We promise we know what we're doing. 100%. By the way,
Sure.
fun fact. So, like, I remember like a couple weeks ago, I had like a spider that kept like coming over here, and
Mm-hmm.
just for everyone, spider update. I don't know where it went. It hasn't shown back up, and that's very concerning because the sucker was big in my
It
book.
transformed into a man and
Whoa.
it became Spider-Man.
I
I
was
am
like, oh my
sorry.
god, there's some dude lurking in my apartment. Like, go away, please. Okay, God. Go away. But
Sorry, Halloween is coming. I can't help myself.
oh yeah, no. I love me some Halloween. Halloween is like the greatest holiday ever.
That's gonna be
Um,
my date for my short story release. So
oh yeah, you've been working on that, right?
yeah, look, I was like, I was gonna do this the previous weekend with you, and then there
Mm-hmm.
were a lot of things going on in the
It's all
writers'
right.
community,
I did
and
too. It's
yeah,
fine. It's good.
yeah. No, but it's okay. Like, we just had to organize it, and then the problem is, okay, breathe in. I'm going to co-author a book with
Mm-hmm.
another person. So, like, this is the first time I'm writing a book together with someone.
Oh, that's interesting.
So yeah, it is interesting. It's lots of fun.
Mm-hmm.
And it's gonna be a sci-fi horror mystery nonsense thing. It's gonna be very surreal. I
I
just
love it.
love it.
I already
But
love it.
that took my whole thing, it took my whole time. And also, okay, so that project is one thing, and
Yeah.
then the whole release for my short story, I'm looking for a proper cover design, because apparently what I had in mind is not very pleasant to simpletons out there, and they don't know what they're looking at. I'm too abstract, I'm blind.
How dare you?
So
How dare you be
yeah.
blind? Just inconvenient everybody. God damn it.
Yeah. No, so so I have to learn proper cover design, and I have to learn, or at least talk to someone who could help me, or I'm looking for solutions, and looking
Right.
for solutions had me completely on a reading slump. So I was like,
Yeah.
okay, I have a stream with Eris, but I don't know what to do, so I'm gonna need your help today.
It's all right because holy hell, this has been a busy month for me.
For both.
The two books I'm covering, I've already read, so, but I
Yay.
watched the movies. So, all right, okay. I would like to start with the nicer one.
With the good one.
The
Yeah,
nicer one. Yeah.
before things went wrong. Yes.
Yeah. So, well, actually, before I even do that, I'm going to greet my chat real quick. Hello, everyone. Hello. And yes, congratulations, Dal. That is so amazing that you actually have like a date set and everything. That's like the dream. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
It's gonna be self-published, so it is not nothing too special. But I'm trying to be professional with it, so like I have a date. So
That's great. I mean, honestly, as someone who also loves to write, it's like a dream to just get it published, regardless if you have like a publishing house that you're going through, or like if you're self-publishing. Like
self-publishing.
you can call yourself a published author now, and
Yeah,
that actually
I
brings.
am. I am
Yeah,
a published author. I have one story that's already part of an anthology, so it's already out there. So I am kind of an author already, but I mean that was last year. I need
well,
something new.
hold on. Is it like available? Like
It
what?
is,
Okay,
but Aries, careful. It's a romance anthology.
I
It's
don't
a
care. I want
disability and
girl, I want to support you, and I want to throw the link out in the chat. So
oh, okay.
can you throw me the link?
Okay, I did not expect that.
Yes, we're doing this.
Okay,
You can't
okay.
tell me that you published something and it's available and me not like, celebrate that. I had no idea you were already published. Awesome. Okay, yeah, we're gonna
I
do this.
have one. That's why I can call myself an author, because I have something. But
Yeah, I call
otherwise,
myself a writer because I
yeah.
haven't gotten published. You can call yourself like an author. Terminology gets weird, but yeah, I just write.
Exactly. So like that's why I do it, because like if I didn't have that out, I couldn't call myself an author, because
Correct. Yeah.
it's just not right.
Yeah, but some people think they're synonymous and they're not. So I just kind of rolled with it. But I didn't even think about it. Like, yeah. Also, yeah, we're gonna get that link out. Oh,
We're
people.
gonna get the link. Hang on.
Yeah.
This blind alien is getting the link. Hang
How
on. Let me go
dare
to the
you take the
private.
time? You can do it in the private chat, or you can DM me on
I'm
Twitter,
doing.
regardless.
There we go. Weep. It's in the
There
private
it
chat.
is. All right. And I am going to add that link to my description. Give me a second.
So it's a collection of short stories. It's romance. Is like a summer read. It's very light, warm, heartwarming. It's very like this, but all the characters, or it is by disabled authors for disabled characters. It's like romance can be for everybody. So I really like the cause, and that's why I challenged myself to try to write a romance. How did that happen? I don't know yet, because that's not my genre. I recognize it's not my genre. So
I mean, hell, like, eventually, I feel like everyone dips their toe in romance. You
it's
know,
like mandatory. It
yeah,
becomes kind
it's
of mandatory.
hard to write about people without eventually having to write a romance. Um,
Mm.
but the trick about a romance book, and this is most romance movies fail actually with this, which is why I don't usually enjoy watching them. Um, so the romance becomes so center that if you take it away, the plot on like what's actually happening in the movie isn't there. It's just kind of like, oh, this happened to get to, on and on and on. Oh,
Mm.
Adega, no,
Adiga.
Adega, no. You don't want to write romance? Oh, come on.
No
You would
romance.
never
I
make.
understand you though. I do understand. I mean, he fellow sci-fi writer. Fellow sci-fi author. So like I understand that they got. I mean, romance is hard. I was asked to do it again, and I was like, no. I think I cannot do it again.
Yeah, no, it's like you either love it or you don't. But it's actually a lot more difficult than people realize because
It's very difficult.
it's
I
you're
don't even know
centered
if I did it right.
you're centered around this love story, but you also have to create what's happening in the story besides the love story actually interesting enough to keep people reading.
I think that's where I went wrong actually, because I was too focused on everything else, and the romance was there clearly, but
Yeah.
I put a lot of there is more going on here, like a lot more.
Yeah.
So maybe I went too much into the other
Oh,
direction.
no. I mean, you just need to have at least something happening in the background that's not just the romance story, that's
Hmm.
somewhat cohesive.
So the
And
premise
brings it.
is
Yeah, go ahead.
the premise for this little it's a short, it's a very 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 short story. The premise is that this folk metal musician, she's blind, like even more blind than
I don't
me.
know where you got that inspiration from.
Oh, I have no idea where did that come from.
Go
so so this character is even more blind than I am. The character only has light perception. Only
Mhm.
that I can still see colors and stuff. So this
Mhm.
character has even more complications than I am. The character needs help from the bandmates, but I'm gonna use they because I'm leaving it neutral. I'm not disclosing which character is which, because I just left it very open for
Mhm.
whoever, from whoever orientation, they can see whatever they want.
Right.
That's why I did it that way.
Did you do
So
it like in second person? Is that
I
what
did
you
it
did
in
it in?
first. I did it in first.
Oh, first person. Okay.
So I didn't have to use he or she. The narrator just says the name of the other character, and like,
Okay. So someone can
yeah,
basically self insert.
yeah, they can see
Okay.
whatever. If they want to see a gay romance, they can see a gay romance. If they want to see
Interesting.
a straight romance, they can see a straight romance. If they want to
Huh.
see whatever, they can see whatever. So that's I left it with gender neutral characters, which a lot of romance readers did not like. I am so sorry.
Well, because a lot of romance readers are women, and so they kind of want the idealized version of themselves, and then a person in a like fantasy
Yeah,
setting that would
they
never
want
exist.
things very defined. And I was
Yeah.
very open, like, but
Mhm.
anyway, the short premise is that this musician, Hurley plays the pipes, both uilleann and Scotch pipe,
Mhm.
at a folk metal band from Donegal, so an Irish folk metal band thing.
Okay.
Um,
Interesting.
And they have a gig in Iceland. They go to this lighthouse in Iceland. The lighthouse exists because it's a real place that I got to know and visit in person, and it was very inspiring. And I wanted to honor the place, writing a story about it. So that's how the lighthouse. So this band has a gig inside the lighthouse, whatever, and there's a photographer who has an exhibit, and so they meet. It turns out the photographer is a deep, like a big fan of the band, but there is more to these two characters. There's more to this couple than just what's happening at present time,
Mm-hmm.
and you will have to find out.
All right. Lives hanging. Good summary. Good summary on the back of your book right there.
It's a short story, so I cannot really tell you more than that. I'm just telling you.
No. I'm
musician, blind musician, photographer. They meet at this place that is not their home country because artistry. You know, the lighthouse is a cultural center in real life, so it's credible. It's possible, and they meet and they kind of have a thing, but there is more to their story than just the present time.
Sorry, I almost was about to cough, but it couldn't figure out whether it wanted to come out or not, and so that's what that was. I wasn't trying to be rude and like clear my throat.
Imagine, since we're talking about books and movies, imagine if they try to make a movie for this. No, please no, please don't. They will ruin it.
Well, they'd have to ask you first. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Actually, hold on a second. I haven't created my chat. Hello, everyone. Again, hello. We're gonna try. We are like the greatest at getting off topic and just talking.
We are getting on tangents here. My writer brother is writing to me. My writer brother is writing about this book, and I'm like, dude, I'm on a stream.
Hey, all this stuff is like, no, I can't.
Give me a moment.
Yeah. So hello, Adega, Lady Miss, and Lori.
Purple Lady.
Oh no, she's changed her name. She's now Purple Valkyrie.
Purple Valkyrie. All right. Yeah, that's why I'm using my baby Valkyrie picture.
Yeah,
that's my Valkyrie.
Yeah, it's so cool. Let's see. And then also Chris Persia, number 1's in the house. Robert Pearson. God damn it. I always like want to say Rob and then I keep going and so all right, Robert Pearson. Crimson Mist. Is it Jet Stevens? I hope I'm pronouncing that correct. I always feel bad when I pronounce someone's name incorrectly.
Robert is here, yeah.
Pause of Candor. Let's see. Project Storytime. Massive. Oh yeah, he's gonna start a YouTube channel, and he is going to go over books.
Dude, I need to subscribe to this channel.
Yeah, well, he's like in early
stages,
very early stages. So hell yeah,
no biggie. Right? And he's already got his niche going. He was, booktube. He already got that.
Yeah, I thought I really like that idea. Because we do. I cover pop culture for the most part, but on Saturdays I do love to just talk about things that are kind of more broad and general. And this particular subject is something I'm very passionate about and have been for a very long time. Is books versus movies.
Yeah.
Because when things go wrong, they go very wrong.
They go very wrong, and I would like to know who's the one responsible for it so they can get fired.
I know. It's like, man, like just imagining someone like getting a hold of like my IP and then telling me everything's going to be fine, everything's going to be good. And then I don't know, obviously, because I haven't been in that situation. But like just imagining seeing the final product, just be like, what did you do? What happened? What happened here? This is wrong. All of this is wrong.
I mean, I have good reasons why I don't watch movies, because the few that I watched, because they were, current times, the few that I watched were like, and I felt like I have no time for this. And so, talking about books versus movies and seeing what went wrong or what went right. Exactly. What went right. I mean, that's like, I think that's one of the things that's going to help me define why I am so averse to movies.
Mhm.
beyond my visual impairment. Because, like, dude, the visual impairment is clear, but I could still watch movies. I have watched a few.
Yeah, you were
I
on
have.
our Young Frankenstein watch party, actually.
I
Yeah,
was,
I mean, you
and I really
can watch
liked it.
movies. Yeah, you can
I
watch movies.
I just bother everybody like, what's going on screen and what's
Yeah,
happening.
all good, girl. It's all good.
I'm
It's
joking. I'm joking.
yeah, it's all good. I mean, it's interesting. Um, the two that I have today is Sahara, which is based off of a Clive Cussler book,
Hmm.
and part of like the Dirt Pit. Um, it's kind of more like an episodic book series where it's a continuous character, and you kind of
Hmm.
get some behind the scenes character development, um, like throughout the book series. But you can just pick one up and read it,
Hmm.
without losing a whole lot.
Hmm.
Um, yeah.
Kind of like Discworld from Terry Pratchett, that you just read whatever you want from there.
I am not an expert in that, but Purple is. Purple, is that right? I don't know. She is our
I'm
Discworld.
doubtful. I'm doubtful, but I think Discworld by Terry Pratchett is one of those series that you just pick whatever book and you're fine,
Yeah, I
or
I
that you can skip some of the first books or something like that.
I she
Yeah.
sent me like a map like of like the books, and which was kind of interesting. I've never seen a map for like book series, so that was kind of fascinating. Um but I don't know. I don't know what to say. Purple, say something about I know we're on
Uh,
like a 20-second delay here.
Crimson Mist. Thank you. His Crimson Mist says that they like my
Oh,
timer videos.
yeah.
Nice. Thank you.
Yeah. You have really good production quality on your videos. I really like it.
It's all made on a phone.
It's more impressive, honestly. Yes, that's correct.
Thank you kindly to KineMaster for having such an amazing phone app. That's how I do my timer videos.
Holy hell. Nice. Let's see. Yes, that's correct. Best to pick up book at book 4 and then go back. That's interesting. I
Ooh.
that's a very well, I mean, I've done that with a few books. I know I Harry Potter, I started Harry Potter on movie 3 and then read book 3 and then went back to 1 and 2 and whatever, and that's how I got into it. But yes, we're just gonna skip by Harry Potter. We're gonna
My
go down right.
my writer brother is also in the UK, and the same. He told me the same thing. Just start up from book 4, and then you can go back if you want, and then you can move forward if you want.
Yeah.
Like, so
I've
the very same comment. So Purple
yeah.
is telling me the same.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's yeah. I will trust her on that because I mean
Mm.
she knows Discworld like the back of her hand. Like she is a hardcore expert in Discworld. So anything Discworld, I just leave it to her.
You gotta hang out with my writer bro. Why isn't he here? Ugh.
Oh no.
Like, where are
So
you, dude? I know he's busy. He's busy. He's
I know.
busy.
I know. I said the word. Oh god. Yeah. I don't ever want to go back and read them because I don't think I would enjoy them as much.
Oh, you mean the HP series?
Yeah,
Okay.
like actually
Nah.
like watching. I've watched the movies. They're fine. They don't really bother me, but actually like reading it and having kind of developed my own style of writing and my kind of developing kind of your voice changes as like you get older and like you write more. And so my voice is kind of how to put this? It's stagnated a little bit because I haven't been writing because I've been so busy. But yeah, that makes sense. I don't know if that made sense.
It does make sense. You do feel like, oh crap, I haven't written anything in a
Mhm,
while, and it's gonna be, like, I need to work on
mhm.
my writing and evolve my voice. And yeah, it's a
Exactly.
feeling. It's a
Yeah.
feeling, and it's valid. But I
Mhm.
don't think that you stagnate. I don't think so. You stagnate when you write the same thing over and over, and like you become a little
That's
bit of like
true.
a broken record. That's when you
Yeah.
become stagnant.
All right. Yeah, I'll agree with that 100%. I mean, you'll it's kind of like an actor
Hmm.
who plays the same role because they get
Hmm. Hmm.
typecasted and they play the same role over and over and over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And,
That's why, precisely, that's why I try to explore other things, other genres with my short stories. That's why the romance thingy that I just shared, and
Mhm.
that's why the thriller thingy that's coming on Halloween, because it's not a sci-fi. So why do you say that you write sci-fi? Because I'm writing sci-fi novels, and those take longer to get out.
Yes, novels are. I like trilogies, but I feel like trilogies have been overdone, like to the point of absurdity. So it's like I'm
Yeah,
almost to the point of like, well, I feel like I could finish my series up in 3. Do I push to 4 because trilogies are so overdone? But do I
I
need to
am.
push to 4? You know what I mean? I don't want to get
Exactly. I
extra.
I am in the very same boat because I have 3 books. Ah, my god. And trilogies have been overdone.
Mm-hmm.
And so I feel like I'm too late to that party.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, the book came in 3. So what do I do now? You know,
Yeah.
the story came like that. So what do I do
Mm-hmm.
now?
Yeah, like
Cuz
I
like
have.
adding a fourth one would be filler, you know.
Yeah, that you don't want. Filler isn't. I don't think I've ever heard anyone compliment filler.
No.
Ever. I don't think
No.
I've never really heard it. I've heard it, like in anime, like where it's like, oh, this is a filler arc. Like you can just skip this. You can just
Hang on. I did hear in one video that was like a video essay, the like um that was talking about Spirited Away,
mm-hmm,
and they were talking about that train scene where basically nothing is happening because Chihiro is only on a train and there's
mm-hmm.
this ambient music and that's it. That's the scene. Nothing's really going on there. But so it would be considered quote unquote filler.
Mm, I think
Could be.
it's okay. I think there's a difference between filler and giving the viewer slash reader time to breathe.
Exactly.
There is a difference. Filler
It
is
is a
like
difference. It
you
is a
can.
difference because in the video they were talking about
Mhm.
in Japan they call it ma or something like that.
All right.
And it is that the scene where it just breathes, the
Mm-hmm.
movie just breathes. It's just like a
Yeah.
chill out time. Nothing's really going on here,
Mm-hmm.
but we need that little break from all the hectic stuff that happened at the bathhouse and all the things that happened to Chihiro and all we
Yeah.
need a break. So that scene was the
Yeah.
break. So it could be mistaken by filler, but it was done at the right point in time in the movie where it wasn't filler, it was just a
Yeah.
break.
Yeah. Because you do need to give people time to like. Okay, that happened. We need to
Mhm.
process because if you just
Mhm.
go, it's
You
like, whoa,
need
hold on.
you need you need to calm down. Exactly, you need to calm down in certain parts. In the middle of the book there are parts that you do need to calm down because it's the
Mhm.
middle of the book, the character is processing the change,
Yes,
that kind of
exactly,
stuff.
exactly, and it's just you have to give your viewer slash reader time to breathe. If you do not, hey,
Then you
hey,
have a problem. Hey.
HP is for 25 and under. Really? No. I think it's I actually think Harry Potter anyone can read it at any time,
Anyone can read it
but
at any time,
I
but
think it's more enjoyable for elementary school slash middle school.
exactly. When you're not thinking too deep about all the
Yeah.
problems that you find in there.
Is wait, what? That's bathhouse. I missed part of the stream. I take it as it's going as no, no, Coppold. I'm not.
We were talking about Spirited Away
No, yes,
and
yes.
sorry. Sorry.
No, this is not. We're not going on. This is. I'm not doing a vlog. I'm not doing
No,
a vlog. No,
it's not a vlog.
no, we're not. I don't even think. I'm pretty sure we don't have bathhouses here.
We do have bathhouses in Budapest. Oh, sorry, I'm not in Budapest anymore. My God, I really have to adjust my brain that I'm not in Budapest anymore. My God.
I haven't really left Houston, so just in Texas is I don't really I don't know how. Now I'm curious. Now I want to know. I'm gonna have to look it up if Texas just in general has bathhouses. I'm sure America does somewhere, but I don't know about.
It's something very cultural, it's like
Yeah.
it's common in Hungary because the Turkish baths were a thing
Yeah.
back in the times,
Mhm.
and then Hungarians just adapted it because there's a lot of geothermal activity, and they just made spas out of everything.
Yeah, I mean, we have
So,
spas, but, like, a bathhouse
yeah,
seems
yeah.
separate,
I'm in
you
the
know?
baths with all the pools and the geothermals, like
Yeah, I
they
guess.
do have a lot of that. They have a lot of that. I remember lots of those in Budapest. Finland has a lot of spas because they don't have this geothermal thing. Iceland has a lot of geothermal everywhere, so they have a lot of even pools in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of nature, and they have like a thermal pool going, and it's like, yeah, I also had experiences with that. Really nice. But yeah, that was about the movie Spirited Away, and we were discussing that train
Yes.
scene where nothing happens, like nothing really, like nothing important happens, but it was something that could be mistaken as filler. But in truth, it is not filler because it's a scene where people just breathe. The movie breathes, and the audience is like, okay, we're processing everything.
Wait, I looked what do you mean I looked I'm literally wearing, like, a tank top and just, like, a short sleeve jacket. That's all I'm wearing. I'm not wearing anything fancy, I promise. I promise.
I I am just dressed, but like I'm not presentable for a stream right now.
Sorry, I almost didn't. I was lazy and didn't want to put on any makeup, but I did. So
I don't think you need, but I mean, I'm blind, so don't listen to me.
I'm sure not. I do it for me, just because I like the smoky eye look.
Uh-huh.
That's really like, and I have for a long time. So I like putting it on. It takes me like 2 seconds. But even then, it's like, oh, I don't want. All right. So, speaking of not, you know what? No, speaking of wanting to do something.
Mhm.
So the two books that I like slash, that we'll be discussing today
Mhm.
actually have a similar problem,
Aha, interesting.
but one is successful and one is not.
So one did it right, the other, Mm.
Yes. Well,
I
okay.
am assuming that the one that you mentioned before the stream is the one that went wrong.
Yes.
Okay.
But it has two movies. So I thought that was interesting. And I watched both
Mm.
of them because I wanted to compare and contrast.
Okay.
Um, so, oh, speaking of, ta-da! Apparently, you need to visit the states of Utah and Idaho, which has a lot of hot springs, which I did not
I
know.
I have heard of Utah. I didn't know about Idaho. That's interesting. Well,
Yeah,
someday I'll go there. That's
yeah.
that's good to know. Good to know. I'm learning everything. Like I've never been to the states, so forgive me. But I do know some of the states. I know the geography, but I don't know everything about the states because I've never been there.
It's
So
all
like
right.
I learn new things with people every day. So that's awesome.
You come to
Okay.
the states, we gotta hang out. That is,
I'm
yeah,
messaging. No, I'm making a public announcement. Like I'm gonna be in the states, and
yes. It's like party time with y'all. We're gonna go hang out in
that
Utah.
would be really cool. Oh
Yes,
my god, in
party
Utah.
time. Yeah, we'll have our hot spring filler anime episode in Utah. Um,
Awesome.
all right, so the
So,
two subjects, or I guess the two things, is Sahara, which is a
mhm,
book by Clive Cussler, and the movie stars Matthew McConaughey. And then Pet Cemetery,
by
which
Stephen King.
Stephen King, yes. Both of those authors I'm a big fan of. So both those books I really liked. Um, I like the movie of Sahara. I actually have a poster of it in my living room because I really liked it. And that movie introduced me to um, Clive Cussler, even though it's not like the book. And like a third of the plot's missing from the movie, which you'd think would be really bad, but it kept the same atmosphere, it kept the same energy that the book does have. And it's interesting watching the movie first, reading the book, versus in Pet Cemetery, I read the book first and then watched both of the movies.
Mhm.
So we kind of have two different ways to look at it.
Nice.
But yeah, Sahara the movie, um, very very good. I loved it. It was a good action. The soundtrack is one of the best I've heard. As far as like the songs, like I have most of those songs on my phone. Like the actual like music, not just the like the OST, like the original stuff is very very well done. It kind of just it just boosts the atmosphere and the tension and what's happening, which is very important in a movie, that your music complements what's happening. And I think that helped a lot. I think Matthew McConaughey was a great casting choice for Dirk Pitt, because I can't unsee him in the books as any other person. Um, I just can't. He just kind of is that character. What's interesting?
Nice.
Yeah,
Huh?
isn't that nice? Don't you just love it when casting is correct?
Yeah, when things are done right.
Mhm.
From which time period is this movie? Because I haven't watched it, but now I have to because like it sounds like a good one.
So hold on a second. I'm trying to figure out when
Maybe
it
people in the chat know.
when does Sahara of Cussler take place? It's okay. Well, it was written in 1992, and the film was done in 2005. But I'm trying to figure out the time period. There's multiple time periods set. What he likes to do, what Kai Cussler likes to do, and I'm a huge fan of this, is he takes multiple storylines and by the end intertwines them into one.
Oh, I love that.
And he does that
Love it.
perfectly every single time. So the opening like chapter will basically set up what is found at the end of the movie or what people are looking for. Because what Dirk Pitt does is he's a member of NUMA, which he's like a marine biologist, and so he's always finding like shipwrecks and like discovering things, and he kind of just falls into adventures. Um, for and in this case there's a really bad red algae outbreak happening, and so they're trying to figure out why, and that leads them on the adventure of where it's happening from. um, the the book, like I said, has a third more plot in it, and it has like this whole like enslaved underground cave thing, like something from the Temple of Doom in Indiana Jones.
Oh.
um, it's like, yeah, it's really intense.
Speaking
Um,
of caves, Adega says that there are like some caves under the Hoover Dam and there's some hot springs. Okay, amazing.
the Allspark is also in the Hoover Dam.
Nice.
That's a Transformers joke for anybody out there who watched Transformers. I know we're not supposed to speak of Michael Bay's renditions of it, but anyway, moving on.
Yeah,
Um,
that's for another day.
yeah, for another day. So
This is
I
the third. I mean, of course, when they adapt a book to a movie,
mhm.
they will cut plot lines. They will
Yeah.
cut things out. That
I
we
mean, it's
know
still
that.
like a
We
it's
know
like a
that.
2-hour movie. I mean, I don't even know how they were supposed to fit that other part in, but it resolves itself pretty much the same. Um, it's just kind of different in a way. I don't want to give away too much, I feel like, because
Mhm.
I don't
It's
want
hard
you
to
to.
make this. It's hard to make these streams without spoiling things.
Yeah. Let's see what else. It does it so well. I don't know how else to describe it. It's like, how much do you want me to tell you?
I don't mind at all because I cannot see. I don't mind the spoilers because the spoilers are explanations. So
Okay.
when I see the thing, it's like, that's what this person was talking about. Like it doesn't affect me at
Okay.
all. I'm not one of those people
Cool.
like don't spoil it. No, I'm
All
not
right.
like that.
Awesome. I think you've said that before, but I just
No
wanted to make
problem.
sure.
No problem.
Um,
The thing would be people in the chat that would be like, don't spoil it.
all right, guys, I'm about to spoil the hell out of this, so just roll with me. So in the book, it opens up with it's during the American Civil War, and I can't remember what specific battle it is, but there is a Confederate battleship. I'm thinking. I'm trying to remember. It's called the USS Texas. Funnily enough, and let me double check and make sure I'm getting my. I please tell me. Please tell me. Confederate ironclad Texas. Yes. All right. Cool. I'm correct. Awesome. It's been a minute since I was actually going to show the book, but apparently I borrowed it from my parents and I don't own a copy myself. So
Ooh.
it's been a minute since I have read this book. Yeah, I know. I know that, but I really need to get all of them. And once I
Yeah.
start buying one, I'm going to have to buy them all. So that's on my list of things.
I understand the feeling though. I
Yeah,
understand the feeling. It's like I'm not gonna get just one. I need the whole thing.
yes,
And I need the
exactly.
whole thing at once. Yeah, I know.
Exactly my point. Yes.
I have the same problem.
So it opens up and they actually like and I think the Union troops were going to try to sink the ship, and they put someone on top of the ship in order to convince them to not, and it's Abraham Lincoln.
Oh,
Yeah, so they like totally kidnapped Abraham Lincoln. It's like, okay,
okay.
what an opening! And that's how it opens. It's in the Civil War.
That's an
Yeah,
interesting piece of fan fiction right there.
yeah, and they just kind of roll like with it. Like, they just kind of like and just keep going and going and going, and it kind of cuts to then it cuts to, if I'm remembering correctly, Amelia Earhart is like
Oh my
flying.
god.
Yeah, is
Uh-huh.
it Amelia Earhart or is it? Hold on, maybe make sure because I think it was supposed to be Amelia Earhart. Oh, I'm sorry, Kitty Manock. Anyway, a famous aviation pilot is like flying around. She crashes in like the middle of the desert, and it kind of cuts from there. And so those are your two, and your third one is of course with Dirk Pitt, who is um, doing his thing on that. Now the movie does not have Abraham Lincoln being a part of it at all because that would have been controversial as hell, and I can't blame them for it. Um, and because Abraham Lincoln doesn't die in Ford's Theater in this book. He dies in that battleship in the desert, which kind of rewrites history quite a bit in America. Um, that means that there was a body double pretending to be Abraham Lincoln for like a lot of the things that happened, like the main points in like the Civil War, particularly the end, the Emancipation Proclamation, like all of that. Yeah, that means that he wasn't actually there for that. Yeah, big thing. So there's a good reason I can understand why they decided to cut that part. Now in the movie, they also he's very much. It's like he's wanted to find this ship for a long time, or Dirt Pit has. Also, they cut out the air pilot thing, the airplane pilot. They completely cut that from the movie. So it's just those two. It's just like the Confederate ship has a bunch of gold on it, and they want to find it, and then they have Dirt Pit trying to find this ship. In the book, he's not trying to find that ship. He just stumbles upon the ship um, because he's trying to find out why there's this like huge thing of red algae leaking into the ocean. And there's like this sickness that's been happening, um, all like spreading throughout Africa. And I know, right? There's a pandemic. I know we haven't heard about
Ooh.
that before. But there's a pandemic that's happening, and they can't figure out why is it spreading? What's causing this? And no one wants to talk about it. No one wants to investigate it. And it's because there's a solar power plant that is like all of, like the radiation. They're storing it underground, and there's a leak in that facility, and it's leaking into an underground river, and that's infecting other rivers in Africa, and that's how it's spreading because people get their water from wells,
Yes.
and it's in this natural stream of fresh water is now infected with this red algae, which
Wow.
is causing it to spread everywhere. And if they
They-
don't stop it, the red algae will get into the ocean, and red algae really, really, really like the salt in the ocean.
Yeah.
So
You don't
it's
want that
yeah,
in the ocean. Yeah,
It's basically like eating up the oxygen in the ocean, basically. So it would kill everything in the ocean, and it would spread. And once you're talking about like an apocalypse, basically. And so
sci-fi.
yeah,
Eh,
yeah. So
it's
it's almost a
I like
little
it.
sci-fi. Yeah,
It's a very like the author had to do a lot of research to,
yeah, yeah, exactly. It's like I learned a
I
lot of
can
stuff.
see the effort here.
Hmm.
I like that a lot because like well it's my primary genre. So it's like whenever I hear something that's very sci-fi, I'm like yes, 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 yes,
Yes,
yes.
exactly. And all they want to do is once they start finding out that they're the cause, because it's like this warlord, this African like warlord who's like been terrorizing people of like his country, has it's cheap power,
Mm-hmm.
and he wants to and when he finds out, and when the guy finds out that's running it, that they decide that they're going to explode it, they're going to demolish the thing, the solar power plant, but that actually traps the toxic like radioactive material under the ground, which means there's no way to get to it.
Mm-hmm.
So they have to try to stop that. And then like they find out that this underground river is how the battleship Texas got into the Sahara, because during the 1800s that river existed, and it sailed up the river, and
Oh,
that's how it ended up in the middle of the desert.
oh.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, I've heard of this kind of stories of
it's
draw
very
like
interesting. Yeah.
oh, this is I like this plot line. I have to check out this movie, the
Yes.
book.
Yes, and then that's all his
Interesting.
books are all like that. Like all of his books have that. There's one on the Titanic. There's one like on the Library of Alexandria. He takes these really big. Oh, there's one on El Dorado, which is my favorite. It's called Inca Gold. There's no movie on those because after Sahara, um, Ty Kessler didn't like how they had changed so much in it, so he cut the deal to make more. They were going to make more, but he didn't like it, and bravo to him. He could have kept going, but he saw what they did to his book. And even though I love the movie and I love the book, and I understand as an author, you created this thing and you didn't want it to be tarnished. And in his eyes, it was tarnished because it was different.
It would, yeah, yeah. I respect the creative decision, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
glad that back in his time, he had a say in his, because
That was
nowadays,
2005, actually. It wasn't that
yeah,
bad. Yeah, it wasn't that long
no,
ago.
but things have
Money.
changed. Things have changed
Immensely.
from
Yeah,
then. From then on, things have changed. Like
unfortunately.
nowadays, you have no you as an author, like if you're picked up by the big houses, you have no say. You are just the name on the book. Like you have no say.
Mm-hmm.
You
Well,
probably, I mean, you probably do, but you don't. And it's yeah, they can decide. I mean, they have a say on your cover. They have a say on like important changes if they feel like they want to do it more commercial. Okay, I know that I'm gonna be breaking author etiquette right now, and I do apologize publicly because like I apologize publicly for my mistakes before I make them, because I just know that I'm about to make a big mistake.
all right, go for it.
But like I'm in the queer.
You're in the what? You cut out there. No. No. I got YouTube silence there. Rip. And now I can't hear you. You need to reboot. It's all right if you need to reboot. The timing of that, timing of that was kind of funny though, honestly. I know, I know, right? Oh no. Oh, rip. Ah, she's about to give away some secrets. Ah. Oh, it's all right. She'll be back. Ugh. Bro, y'all been. Let's see. Dun, 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 dun. Yes, Clive Cussler, awesome. Definitely one of But she's doing it on her laptop. I don't know if she has a microphone. She usually does it on her phone. I have no idea. No. I'm blaming Loki and I'm also blaming Trey just because that's generally what to do at this point. Um, she'll be back. Just give her a second. Yes, Clive Cussler is one of my favorite authors. He actually died recently, which was really heartbreaking to hear. He, I really wanted to meet him. Ah, thank you. I don't even think I did anything with it today, but thank you. I appreciate that. No, no, actually, I don't know. Like I said, the timing of that was hilarious. Oh, you can't make that up. It's always hysterical. I hope that she can rejoin us. Oh, yep, she is back.
I'm back.
Ta-da!
I'm back.
About
Damn.
to divulge
The
some
phone. I'm on
secrets.
the phone.
You're on the phone
The
now?
whole, the you. Yeah, I have to because like the internet just cut off. So
No, you're good.
whatever. So
We'll make
I'm
do.
good. I'm good.
Fine. The timing of that was hysterical. It's like, oh, no.
I will apologize for the big mistake I'm about to make. Bye. You too. Maybe that's a sign, and I should not say what I was about to say. Maybe I should
Whatever.
not. Maybe I should just.
Hey, you want to say
I'll
it? You know what I'm
say
saying?
it.
Totally cool.
I'll
Doesn't
say
matter.
it. I'll screw it. I mean,
Now,
screw it.
if you
I already I already left with an epic cliffhanger. So okay. So I'm querying. Okay, I'm querying my book. I'm querying
okay.
my sci-fi. And so that means I have to find a literary agent, and the literary agent have to approve of my work to see if it's worthy or not. You know exactly
Mhm.
what I'm talking about. So I have to send a query letter with a brief, elevator pitch of my book, blah blah blah.
Okay.
So I have been doing that for a while. I have been getting radio silence, rejections and stuff, and or just a copy paste stock rejection letter, which is what
Oh,
every
I
other
love
author
that.
gets these days.
Oh,
Um,
you know what my favorite
yeah,
is?
I
My
mean,
favorite
whatever.
copy paste is when your name is in a different font, so it's very obvious it's copy paste.
Well, they're lucky I cannot see that. They are lucky I cannot see it. No, this time around though, I have to give props to the agent that I queried that actually took the time of day to look at my stuff, like proper, and I
Mhm.
got proper feedback that wasn't just a copy paste stock rejection. So the
Right.
agent. Okay, so that was fantastic, and I'm super thankful to the agent. I even sent a thank you email. Like I know we're not supposed to reply to rejections. I just want to say thank you. So I was very polite about that. So the mistake that I'm about to make is not about that. It's about the proper feedback that the agent gave me,
Mhm.
and it's not about what the agent said to me or whatever. It's about like how the market stands these days. It's depressing. So I'm writing this sci-fi that in my mind was very, very, very conventional, and I did edit it, and I fixed it. I made it, I improved all the confusions. I know that I'm visually impaired and I can confuse people. So I was working really hard, so it was clear. Everything was clear. I had people read it again and again, and yeah. So I worked hard, and I sent my book, and the agent saw it, and the feedback was, you are a very good writer. I really like your writing. So this was direct about my book. Like, I really
Right.
like your writing, and it feels like you know exactly what you're doing. Because like I know that you know what you're doing. It's just that you're leaving the reader a little behind sometimes.
Interesting.
I was like, yeah. So that I do have like a smart book or something, like I'm leaving people behind, and I'm like, I never thought of my book like I just thought it was a cool story. I never thought it was that smart. Honestly, I'm confused, but that only denotes to me that the agent knows exactly what I'm doing. The agent understood. The agent likes it. They say, if you have the agent told me, if you have something new, please come back to us. I would like to see you again. So it's very genuine. I super appreciate it. I'm super thankful. Finally, I got a proper feedback thing.
Mhm.
but just the market doesn't want it. The market, the ubiquitous they, it's too smarty pants for them.
A lot of
So that's where we
successful-
stand now.
Yeah, well, a lot of successful book series and like some of the like more famous ones went through a lot of rejections, like a lot of them. It just takes one person to believe in what you're doing. Just one. That's it. It doesn't matter
Yeah,
anyone else.
Yeah, but no, but nowadays it's not even that they believe in you; it's that they know that there's no space for this and this and that. Even if they like you, even if they believe in you, it's like it's just no market, or
Take
that's
a
what they
chance on you.
think. Like,
Really. Yeah.
yeah,
Totally.
it's a bit sad where we are right now. It's a bit sad.
Yeah.
It's depressing. It's heartbreaking. It's all those things. It's all those things. It's very sad, but we cannot change it. We can't. So like the fact that the author of Sahara, because that's where I'm going back to it, the fact that the author had a say that no, I don't want to continue. It's like it's remarkable. Today you have no say in anything. You don't. You just don't.
Okay.
That those times are gone.
Let's see if I can find.
I'm sorry to sound so bleak though.
No, you're good. I'm actually finding like I'm on the Wikipedia page. Yes, I understand Wikipedia is not the most like reliable thing, but in this case, I
Yeah,
just
but it's a
wanted
reference.
this is where I was looking for. It's due largely to contract interpretation regarding Cussler's authority over the adapted screenplay. He ultimately sued the Crusader Entertainment, which is who adapted the book. And then Crusader brought charges back up on Cussler, claiming he personally hindered the film's publicity and performance, as well as provided false information in the original contract. And let's see, Cussler actually lost that decision because the jury found he acted unfairly and in breach of contract. So this is just depressing. So the entertainment company that produced the book, produced the movie, was awarded money from Cussler, who found that it had violated a covenant of good faith. And then California Court of Appeals overturned that. And yeah, so
amazing.
And
amazing.
Yeah, so it was.
So it was a heated issue.
Yeah, we could say it was a heated issue. I knew there was something because there were supposed to be other ones that came out. But
in regards to storytelling, when it comes to adapting, they did quite. I mean, the author is not happy, which I absolutely understand and respect.
Yeah.
But like in regards to the audience, the storytelling in itself, it was. You tell me that you liked it actually, that you were introduced to the book thanks to the movie. So the movie kind of did its job in the sense that it's introducing people with something more accessible, like a movie, into something that's a book.
Exactly. And, I like them both. The Tabesa and I'm pretty sure I'm butchering that. Tabesa and then the Kitty Mandoc, which are the two main things they cut out. Tabesa is like the enslavement, like cave thing. And then, which is really, I mean, you kind of, I guess, can technically cut it. But in order to cut it, obviously you would have had to have made the changes that they ended up doing. So I can understand how they got to that point, because the Tabesa part it's 2 hours. Like I said, the movie as it is 2 hours long, and that's cutting all of that other stuff. Would I like to see a cut where if they had actually, a cut of the movie where they had actually done all of that? Oh yeah, of course I would. I'd sit down and watch a 3.5-hour movie on that, because I thought the casting was really excellent. The movie, soundtrack was that was really, really well done. Everyone had chemistry. Like the representation of the characters from the book, it's just a slightly different. But
we could have people could have done like an extended version to for the diehard fans and release it in digital form, because I understand that the part of the movies have the problem that movie theaters have a schedule, and that's why we have movies that are you have only this amount of time. So like that
Exactly.
part, like the logistics, I understand, but like you could have an extended version for like the diehard fans, release a DVD or a Blu-ray or whatever it is now,
Yeah.
and just have like a 3.5 hour, 4 hours even, for people who love the whole thing. I would like to see like a proper adaptation. Like, yeah, that would be interesting, but that costs money. That
Yeah.
costs money, and like
Time
the
and
diehard fans are, diehard fans are a
Mhm.
minority. Yeah, so like it all ties back to the money. It's like
Yeah.
we always like I'm trying to go through this mind shift of I
Mhm.
am I am one of those persons who is like too much art, zero business, and I'm trying to balance
I
it
get
out a
that.
little bit.
Yeah, I
Mm.
am far more
But at
interested.
least what
Yeah.
we have,
Mhm.
yeah, what we have with Sahara, so at least what we have with Sahara is
Mhm.
successful in the sense done well.
Mhm.
Not to the liking of the author, but it was done well.
Yeah, and yeah, he didn't like how it was, and he kind of sued it. But then
Why do
apparently,
you think it was done well though?
it well, the movie itself was. I would have thought that's exactly what the book was because of how it was laid out to me, and it wasn't. You know what I mean? It's like it was
Hmm.
pretty much
It
the
did not
ending.
feel it did
Yeah,
not feel like they cut off something
yes,
important.
that's what I was like trying to phrase it. It didn't feel like things had been cut. It felt like even
Hmm.
though things had been cut, the decisions that went into how it was still a cohesive narrative. Like it's fine. It can stand on its own as its own thing. Um,
Great.
and it's similar enough. It has the spirit of the book. That's where I'm looking for. The spirit of the book, which is if you're going to change things, at least keep that. And it did. It kept it at
Hmm.
110%. Um,
Nice.
and I love that. I absolutely love that they kept that. And despite the changes, it's fine on its own. Now, granted, I did see the movie first, so in that case,
Exactly. That's
yeah.
a thing. You saw the movie first. So the first impression was the movie. Like how would
Mhm,
it okay, I'm gonna try. Well, you already
mhm,
described it to me, but like I know the feeling is different
mhm.
when you read the book first, because the problem is that you already know what was cut
Yeah,
off.
what it was
Like
supposed to
what
happen. Yeah.
yeah, what was supposed to be, and then so you since you already know, then when you
Mhm,
watch the movie it's like, oh, but what about that other thing that they were talking about? And because in
mhm.
the book blah blah blah, and it's like your brain is already like, but in the
Yeah,
book blah blah blah. So
yeah.
that's
Well,
why
that's wrong.
the
Yeah,
impression, yeah.
yeah, exactly. Well,
Mm,
I think it's because it ends pretty much the same way. Everyone
mm-hmm,
gets their
yeah.
comeuppance, which is my I love me a good comeuppance. Like you get what you deserve kind of thing, good and bad. And they didn't get it the same way. It's way more brutal in the book, how they got it,
Mm-hmm.
but it served, in my opinion, it's the same feelings are in that way. So the guy that did the solar plant gets away, so he leaves, and he technically pretty much gets away with it, but they get a guy to serve him at a restaurant. They like arrange this thing where they serve him water at a restaurant that's from the infected red algae river. So all those people who he was infecting and he didn't care about and that he ran away from and was going to blow up the solar power plant in order to, cover up his crimes and keep his millions, he gets served
Hmm.
that at the end of the movie, which is
Nice.
similar to what it's the same thing, except in the book, he gets sunburnt to the point where he is just like dehydrated to the point of insanity. And they give him a whole fridge of water to drink, and it's all that water. So it's the
Oh.
same thing. It's the same thing. Um, that it's the same concept, but it's in a different setting. So I'm okay with that. I'm okay with how the warlord got dealt with because pretty much the same way, just a little different, kind of in those ways where it's like it's similar enough that and the same conclusion happens. So he gets infected with, so that guy gets infected with the disease, and the warlord gets killed because of his own, as a result of his own hubris. Just in different methods. Let's see who else. I'm trying to remember. Now, of course, we cut the Tabesa thing. So you don't have to deal with the awful woman who was in charge of that. You can call her a woman. You can call her a monster. It's kind of yeah. It was literally like a beast of a human being, like that gets off on cruelty, like and torturing people. Like so, like you can call her just a monster would probably be more accurate. Like she gets enjoyment from tormenting people to death, basically. She's horrible. You're not rooting for this woman. There's no redeeming qualities of this person at all.
There's no redemption. I like what you're saying. There's no redemption for this person because
not
there's
everyone
just no way.
Yeah, not everyone.
Not everybody deserves it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a writer friend who has made videos about that, like, the people who make videos about writing, and like she has been talking about that not everybody deserves a redemption arc, and since redemption arcs are super popular these days because everybody gets a redemption arc these days,
I don't
and they
believe
are
it.
overdoing it. No, it's just not right. It's just not right. We should not redeem everybody because not everybody deserves it.
Exactly.
That's it.
Yep. Exactly. There is no redemption arc for the warlord, for the millionaire in charge of the solar Sabesa. Nope. Everyone who deserves to get something bad happen to them gets it. And yeah, it's I love it in that way. The end of the he gets the girl because there's a female doctor who's from the WHO who's looking into the pandemic in Africa. And Dirt Pit gets the girl, but that's just pretty much how it is. It's kind of James Bondish in that way where he gets the girl at the end. But it's not like they made her like a Bond girl. Like she's like a high-ranking like WHO scientist and doctor.
Okay. So it's just it's just like, oh, my hero. Oh, they love each other. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. It's kind of like, but like she holds her own. Like in the movie, she's the one who throws the dynamite in order to like hide them. Oh yeah, Penelope Cruz. Oh yeah, Penelope Cruz is the who plays. So I cannot remember her name in the movie. But yeah, no, she's not just sitting by, well, save me. It's like, oh no, she's like she is like just as they're all equals in that
she's
way.
doing her own Valkyrie stuff.
Exactly. She's doing her own thing. And it's that's nice. Because like
good.
I don't mind the damsel in distress thing. I just don't want her to irritate me. Temple of Doom is a great example of how to not give me damsel in distress arcs.
Yeah, I mean, we can totally, as a female alien here talking, I can totally be a damsel in distress. I am a damsel in distress. At some point of my life, I have been a damsel in distress. I have no shame to say that. But like portraying all females in every single movie like a damsel in distress all the freaking time, because the thing is that all the time factor. Like there will be moments when the girl really needs some help, and there's nothing wrong with that. We don't have to push the narrative of women can do everything alone. No, honey, sometimes you need help.
There's a good
sometimes you do need help.
And
yeah, exactly. But
if she can hold her own, that's the point. It's like
exactly that's done well. That's done. I'm very now I really have to check this movie out because like I don't feel like there's a problem with it. I will not feel like like what you said, like it will not irritate me or something.
Yeah. Clive Cussler knows how to write women, which, thank God,
is rare.
He knows how to write like women who are not just like sideline characters and whatever. It's like no, like they're equal, and the guy is like respectful too. Like he's kind of a womanizer in a way, but like funnily enough,
nobody's perfect.
Respectful womanizing way. I don't know how he manages to pull it off, but he does. But at the same time, it's like, well, I mean, they've gone through a lot together. Probably a good, like, oh, we've been through so much. Let's hook up. kind of thing. It's like it's been done 1,000 times too. But
I mean,
like,
but let's be honest. Let's get real talk here. That happens in
yeah.
real life a lot.
No, yeah, it does. It's not surprising or anything at all. But it's like, it's funny because the endorphins that happen from that. Anyway, we're not. There's
Yeah.
scientific reasons as to why that happens pretty frequently. Things.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, I mean, for straight people out there who that go through that kind of stuff. I mean, amazed. That's why I talk like that. Like for straight people out there, amazed. But like it's not surprising. I mean, it happens all the time in real life. The people who go through so much and they come out of it, it's like, yeah, let's hook up. It does happen all the time.
yeah, it's not. It's really
Movies
not
are
surprising.
Movies are just a reflection sometimes when done well. Movies are reflections of real life sometimes.
All right, my hair is nah. Yes, I am messing with my hair because it's like a week before I need to get a haircut. My bangs are becoming just long enough to be annoying.
Uh,
So yes, I know. I understand. Yes, this is what I get for having a haircut that requires me to get a damn haircut, a hairstyle that requires me to get a haircut ever so often. Anyway, going back.
So what is that? So let's see. What's the movie that went wrong? Or the book versus movie that went totally wrong? Let's talk about Mr. King.
We talked about Sahara. Now we're gonna talk about
No.
Pet Sematary.
Yeah, now we can talk about Mr. King and the
Yes.
stuff.
So, I love the book Pet Sematary. I love it because it actually horrifies me, and that's very difficult to do. It is scary. You don't need like a monster of the week. You don't need like this awful, horrifying like gore fest, whatever, to be scary. You can play on the human condition and how just humanity and the flaws that humanity has.
That's exactly where we are going with my writer brother and I with this project that we're working on together.
Yeah,
we're writing horror, but it's not going to be gory or it's not going to be blood. No. We're doing psychological here.
Yeah. It's much harder to write a psychological horror book than it is others. Because you have to you don't have like this horrifying monster to lean on. You have you have to play with the
uncertainty.
Yes,
yeah.
You have to know how people work in order to write psychological horror. And just in general, I feel like everyone needs to, learn a little bit about psychology, because especially writers, because it helps you write people. And just learning about people and how that is, I feel like it would help everybody just in general to like understand people better. But there's two movies. Now, today I actually watched the 1989, yeah. That is 1989. Yes, 1989. Sorry, I have a cheat sheet. The 1989 movie today, and then like a few days ago, I watched the
2019 remake.
And I read the book before I did watch either one of those. That was very interesting. The 1989 one is pretty damn faithful to the book, actually.
Because back in the day, that was a thing,
Yeah. I messed with my hair and I messed it up. Motherfucker.
Don't worry, Aries.
Oh, it got really out of
summer.
control. Oh,
it's summer. It happens.
Shit. I'm not messing with my hair anymore. Nope, we're not there anymore. So the 1989 one is very faithful to the book. Actually, pretty dead on. There's a few things, obviously, that are changed. But man, it is phenomenal. It's shorter than the 2019 one and has more things in it in the book than the 2019 one does. Which just shows you that the time of the movie doesn't really, you can pace it. Pacing is everything in a movie. Know what you're doing when it comes to pacing. There are so many things in the 2019 version that's wrong, but the pacing, they didn't earn a lot of the stuff at the end. Actually, they shouldn't have done a lot of the stuff at the end, but I'll get to that here in a second. Do you know about Pet Sematary? Have you read the book?
I've read the book, but my memory is kind of blank.
Oh, you're good.
I need to remember it. I did read it, but
well, it's good because I just watched the 1989 movie like before the stream, so which is basically the book. Very well done. Oh my god, I was so happy. It was like I cleansed my palate of the awful that was the 2019 movie. I knew the 2019 movie was going to be bad, but I didn't realize how bad.
It's a remake. It's a 2019 remake.
That is true.
There's
the
no
year,
hope.
unfortunately, does have a little bit on there. Because like you have John Carpenter's The Thing, which is technically a remake from the original Thing from Another Planet, which is I think a 1950s movie. And I personally think that John Carpenter's The Thing is better. That's just my opinion, though. On that, it's so you can have a better remake. You just got to know what the hell you're doing.
It's what I was saying between the art and the business. Like nowadays, I am the one who is like too much art, zero business. But like I see a lot of business oriented versus zero art. So both are evil, both are a bad thing. You really have to like find a balance. And like I feel like the 80s kind of had it.
Yeah, I agree. That you can tell a movie's from the 80s, which is kind of funny. There's just some the quality, the camera quality, how things are shot, how people, and like 80s and early 90s. Like I could have told you it was kind of well, especially like late 80s, early 90s, kind of similar shooting style, because the 1989 Pet Sematary reminded me a lot of how Silence of the Lambs is shot. You just have like the same way to, and yeah, because Silence of the Lambs came out in 1991, so it's like 2 years difference. But very similar in how they made the movie, which Silence of the Lambs is my second favorite movie of all time, and maybe that presented a little bit of a bias, but just the book itself of Pet Sematary, perfect. The ending is perfect. It adds on to the horror. It's not a happy ending, which some people, including my mom, absolutely hate unhappy endings. But I think there's sometimes it's necessary.
It's horror.
Yes,
it's horror. Horror is a genre. Horror is a genre that seems to be like could be hit or miss. It could be either or. You could have a happy ending in horror. You could have people surviving, defeating the monster, blah blah blah. You can have that. But you can also have like very tragic and horrible endings in horror, and that's fine too. Yeah. Like it's one of those genres that you can do either or, and it's fine.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. It's just horror is just so unique. It's everything goes. There is no like it is literally like it's the most open genre in my opinion.
It is. That's why I love it. I love to blend horror elements into other things that I want to write. Even though I don't know how to write horror proper, I will have to learn. I will have to learn that because like I'm still a baby author. I'm starting over.
Yeah, no, I mean I think you and I are about the same age, so relatively speaking.
I'm a little older than you. I'm 29.
Yeah, well, I mean close enough. I mean it's like 4 years.
Yeah, close enough, yeah.
But yeah, no, it's we're both very much developing in our and published. And yeah, it's you're still just developing as a person too. You know.
Yeah, we're learning things. I mean, we're
Mhm.
figuring it out. We're learning things. So like it will reflect in our writing. So horror is one of my bucket list things. So I do like reading horror. I
Mhm.
do like getting scared. I mean, it's hard to shake it off afterward, but I like getting scared.
Yeah.
Nightmares. I have a lot of nightmares.
Yeah.
I should
No,
not be reading. I should not be reading horror, but I am like that. I whatever.
I'm a
Anyway.
very visual person, and yeah, I know. The irony there. I'm a very visual person, and watching horror movies, like, man, it. I can't even watch horror commercials late at night, because it lingers in the back of your
Yeah,
mind.
it
Um,
does linger. Like I'm not visual. I mean, the I am in the little that I have. I mean, I when what
mhm.
the little vision I have, I use it to the fullest I can.
Yeah.
That's, I mean, you can see that in my videos and stuff like that. I
Mhm.
do use it to the fullest of capacities. But
Yeah.
so I could say, ironically speaking, I could say that I could be visual,
Mhm.
and so I understand what you mean with it lingers.
Yeah,
It
like,
it really does.
yeah, it no matter, and I think I misspoke there for a second, but like what I mean is, at least for me, like movies, like seeing it is a little bit more horrifying, but it's you and I both share that, where it's like, despite, you being obviously like visually impaired on that, it lingers in your mind.
Mhm.
So it doesn't
It
matter
does. I
really
like.
how
I
much.
have the
Yeah,
sounds. I
yeah.
have the little bit
Mhm.
of vision that I have. I have the sounds to back
Yeah,
it up. And
exactly.
horror is very strong in sound effects.
Yeah,
My God,
yeah.
horror films are like, if you
Mhm.
cannot see it, you will still get scared because like it's the sounds.
Yes, the
Yes, yeah.
ambiance, the atmosphere, it does linger.
And that lingers.
Mhm,
Like if you're watching that at night alone, and like you're home alone at night and you're
mhm.
watching that thing, like
Oh my
you could be
gosh.
3 hours later, could be
Mhm.
3 hours later, and it's like, I need water, and you try to go to the fridge and you're like, no, you know what, let's
Leave
drink
it.
in the morning, I'm good.
Mhm. Yeah. No, the same way. Yeah, it's like, it just, and that's huge, and Cemetery is so good in that. So, what Pet Cemetery, for those who don't know, and don't mind spoilers, what it's about is essentially this family moves into this new home. There's this
Mhm.
road that has, and yes, I am describing the road in front of the house because it's very important. The road has like insane, like, truckers going like 80 miles an hour. Um, and these truckers just, damn it, they just blast through, and it's right there by the house. There's no fence, there's nothing. And that's very important. Um, so this new couple comes in. It's kind of clear that they're having a bit of marital issues, but it's not like something that they really want to talk about. They have two kids. They have Ellie, which is their firstborn. It's a girl, and then they have Gage, which is like a 3-year-old toddler. And they get in. He's a doctor for this small town. They wanted to get away from the big city. You've heard that story before. Um,
Mhm.
and they wanted to get to a small town because too busy trying to probably like refresh things. And there's a pet cemetery out in the behind the house. There's like a little path that they go on, and that's where a bunch of kids have buried their animals, their pets. Um,
Mhm.
and when you're shown that, there's this big like brambly, like, stick wall, and then there's something else above it, but there's clearly like that. It's clearly there for a reason. Um, you're introduced to the neighbor, and the neighbor is, again, like, very, very important. And this is something else about horror: keep your characters kind of, don't do 12 characters. You know, keep the main ones close. Which is something that I feel like, just in general, people have a
don't
tendency.
do don't do 12 characters. My God, my brother would be like, whoa, but hang on a minute.
Yeah,
We have a lot of characters.
well,
We
no,
have
like,
a lot
what
of characters.
your main crew that you want to tell your story about, especially like in horror. you can get away with just like a few characters. And if you're gonna do horror, I
The
feel like
the
unless you're doing a group,
excuse the excuse is that it's a genre blend, so we have the sci-fi
yeah, if you're
and we
doing
have
well,
and we have a murder
is
mystery going on.
it like a
So
crew on like a
there's
ship?
a lot of there's a lot of suspects. I mean, it's a spaceship, so there will be
Yeah, okay,
people,
well that's where this is
So
great. What I'm talking.
in
Yeah,
that
no, that's
sense,
fine.
yeah,
That's it. It's
we
fine. You have a crew for a ship, and if you have like two people doing the ship, that doesn't make sense. So you want to immerse, obviously, like the viewer in that. And so, no, I totally agree. Having numerous
yeah, and
characters on that.
we do have like passengers that the travelers and the stuff,
Mhm.
but there we have an excuse. That's a good point though, because
Mhm.
that's exactly what we were afraid of. Like, oh my god, isn't it too many people? It's like, well, I mean, yeah, but this is not horror, like alone horror. Just it's not just horror. It's like a sci-fi blend.
It would be like
So
me getting mad at Alien for having like I think 8 crew members. It's like
yeah,
no, you
yeah,
can still have numerous characters, and a character doesn't have to be like 4 dimensions in order to have like something important happening in
hmm
the story. You can have you can have like even just one-dimensional characters that
there
have
will there will be
you know
there will be like necessary like mandatory characters like engineers of the ship and things like that. There
yeah, no,
will
no,
be, but
Stephen
yeah,
King really thrives in the small person horror um,
yeah,
kind of
yeah,
niche.
yeah. And
Um,
because of the scenarios that he chooses, this
yes,
small
exactly.
town with
Yeah,
so that fits. That's a
yeah.
good but that's a good point that you bring up. Like,
Mhm,
don't overdo the characters if it's just like horror alone. If it's like a
mhm.
small town horror, just don't
Yeah,
overdo it with the characters. That's a
yeah,
great point.
yeah. You want people to know the names of your characters. So if you give too many,
Mm-hmm.
a great example of this is me watching Fantastic Beasts 2. I to this day have no idea who half those people, even not even half, like most of those people's names
I
were because
I
they
haven't watched it. I
don't
haven't
watch it.
watched the. No, I know. I wanna because I'm curious. But I do have a great memory for characters. I can handle an Agatha Christie book. I'm fine.
Oh no, this is like a movie that you needed to have subtitles on in order to understand it because they mumble. They do the mumble thing, but they
Oh.
don't have the microphone close enough that it picks it up.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm generally I'm not that great with names, but man, like when you have important characters, like very important characters that I don't know the names of, you have failed. Yeah, there's
Yeah.
probably going to be people are going to use somebody's name, maybe a little bit more than they normally would, but you need
That
people
one we
to
cannot even. That one we cannot
yeah,
even compare it to a book because there's no
no,
book.
no, exactly.
No.
But thank God,
It,
I
it
don't want
it's
there to be a book.
it's
Uh,
just that woman just wanted to write a screenplay and she doesn't know how,
no,
apparently.
no,
So okay.
that's why I said
I mean
last time. Either
it
stay in your lane or learn the craft before you jump into it.
yeah. I'm having to learn some craft, not regarding movies but like cover design. So I
Yeah,
totally get it. I
exactly.
totally get what you're saying.
It's
So
like
it's a learning curve.
yeah,
It's a
but
learning curve.
she didn't try that, She
Mm-mm.
didn't even bother with learning it. She just jumped into it, which is like, no, it's
Yeah.
not the same thing. Anyway, so the
Stephen King, you know.
Stephen King's um so there's a cat and they're named Churchill and Winston Churchill and they
Like
named it
Churchill, yeah.
they nicknamed
Yeah.
it Church. So a lot of times, like animals or pets just get ran over by the
I
trucks.
know.
Yeah,
I know. It's like one of my friends over in Finland is like her sister has a cat, and the cat's name is Dostoevsky, Dosto for short.
mhm,
So, yeah, the cat's name Churchill. That makes a lot of sense. I'm getting to see a lot of people with cats named after famous people. So
yeah,
it's happening. It's
yeah.
coming.
So the let me see. I'm trying to get this. I just watched this movie. Um, they get settled in. There's obviously like a bit of tension between the husband and the wife, because, well, the daughter is asking questions about death, and the wife doesn't want to talk to her about death. And the husband's like, well, she's gonna find out sooner or later. We need to talk to her about this. And so they kind of go back and forth on it. And, well, they go. Actually, I was getting ahead of myself there for a second. So he's the doctor for the college in the town, and he goes there, I think, on his like first day or second day of work. It's like right at the beginning of his job, and a guy gets hit by a car, and it's really, really brutal. I mean, like half his brain showing, like everything broken.
Oh my god,
ain't pretty. And in both movies, they actually went there, which I was pretty surprised that they went there, but they both went there. And
nice. Props for that.
He, the guy dies. Obviously, there's no way he was going to live. And he tells the doctor. He basically warns the doctor about using the pet cemetery. He gives him a warning, and then promptly dies. So whether or not that actually happened, or whether that was like a hallucination or supernatural, you don't know. Because like he died and then came back and said something and then died again. So very traumatizing experience. So he goes home, and he's kind of just obviously very traumatized from what happened. And he becomes close friends with the neighbor, and they talk things out. And let's see what else happened. I'm sorry, there are children screaming outside my window. I don't know why.
That would just be fitting for what we're.
I was just like,
very fitting for what we're talking about.
So
sorry, I'm plotting a horror book. Sorry.
Well, there's the wife ends up telling him about whether or not this is before or after the church ends up getting run over. And he ends up getting run over at when the family, because this is, I don't know why this happened. You know about Thanksgiving? Do you know about the holiday of Thanksgiving?
Yeah. Absolutely, it's very famous.
Yeah, it's a very family holiday. Well, he and his in-laws don't get along, and
classic.
So classic, right? So his wife and his two children go to their in-laws' house, and he stays at home for Thanksgiving, which I feel like would have really pissed me off personally. Being in that situation, it's like, oh, that's it's a family holiday, so you celebrate it.
Yeah, I hear it all the time.
Yeah, he's just staying home, so it's like, okay, well, the cat ends up getting run over. And before that whole thing happened, the wife actually tells a story about her sister had this really bad disease that I can't remember what it was, but she like became skeletal and she couldn't move. And yeah, it was like really awful. Like she had to be fed, and her parents like left her home alone with her as like a responsibility. She's like 8 years old, and she watched her sister die, like choked to death, and like it traumatized the living hell out of her. And how she was happy that she had died because of how terrified her sister made her and all this stuff. It's like, oh, that's some deep, heavy shit. All right. That an 8-year-old is having to go through. And it's interesting because that's how her introduction to death was. So it kind of explains why she's so hesitant to talk to her daughter about it. It's like, okay, well, that explains that a little bit. Anyway, the cat ends up dying while they're at their Thanksgiving, and the daughter's like, oh, I want to, make sure he's okay. And he's just like, oh, well, he ran away and all this stuff. Well, the neighbor is like, well, let's go bury your cat. Just tell her that it ran away, whatever. Now she'll miss it, but you can get a new one kind of thing. And he's kind of like, all right, well, I'll take, he's like, oh, your daughter really loved this cat, right? It's like, okay, well, I'll take you to bury it in the pet cemetery. Well, he takes him through the pet cemetery, like the actual pet cemetery, and up through the bramble, and like buries it in this place kind of far away, and it's almost otherworldly. There's like something screaming in the background, like it feels different. It's weird. It's like almost not of this world. And so they bury it, and of course the cat comes back, but it's not really the same. It's far more aggressive. It's like almost possessed. It's very like almost over too intelligent for just a cat. It's like it doesn't have the same soul, basically. Like something.
Yeah,
yeah.
It's spooky, but why did the cat come back though? Like, wasn't it buried?
Yeah, it's like, okay, so I guess if you bury it there, things come back. So the family comes back home, and like, the daughter's like, well, it's not, this is, like, church isn't acting the same. He's like more aggressive and whatever, and they kind of just blow by it. Well, here comes the pivotal scene of the most famous scene from this book. Story, yes. Gage goes out to the middle of the road and gets run over by an 18-wheeler. The little 3-year-old. And so they have to bury the child, and of course, like, it's traumatized everybody beyond belief. Particularly the daughter, who's been kind of talked to about death and assured that everyone is going to be fine and live and whatever. And then her like younger brother gets killed, so she's just like destroyed. The mom's just like not even like there, and neither is the dad, because they're just so distraught. And then the husband gets an idea. And the idea is to
go and bury the child there, so the child will come back.
Yes, but he sends away everyone. He sends everyone away from the house to go to the in-laws. And so Tim, zombie cat, and then he goes to the cemetery, gets the child, buries it in there. The child is not the same, which was like, and reading the book was like horrifying to think of, like a toddler with like a scalpel, just like knifing people and like swearing up a storm as they did that. It was just so the child comes back and murders the neighbor, and then the neighbor was very, very worried that the husband was going to do this, and husband wasn't taking any calls because he's like out of his mind at this point. And so the wife is like, hey, can you go check on him? And to the neighbor, and he's like, hey, can you go check on him? Neighbor figure out what's happened. And she ends up returning and leaving the daughter there at the in-laws' house. She ends up like coming back to the place. Now, husband has no idea she's coming back because he's not answering any of her calls. And so the toddler murders the neighbor. The wife comes in to the neighbor's house because she wanted him to check up on her husband, and the toddler ends up murdering his mom, who have no idea what's happening. She doesn't know about the pet cemetery and what it does.
Oh wow!
So like she just got murdered by her like 3-year-old zombie child, which is awful. And then well, the husband walks in on him and ends up, I think, killing the cat, ends up killing Gage, and then is just like out of his damn mind. And and all this time, the kid got ran over by the car initially, not Gage, but like the college kid who got hit by the car, is kind of like just chilling, just kind of sort of there, just like warning him not to do stuff. Just be like, hey man, don't do it. You don't want to mess with this. You don't want to do this. And well, he ends up burying his wife there. And the wife comes back. That's the end of the book. Oh yeah, he sets fire to the neighbor's house, so you can't see anything. You know, there's no evidence of anything. I feel like just put the spotlight on everything by setting fire, which is like a giant beacon, you know. So he didn't learn his lesson. He like abandoned his daughter at the in-laws' house. The daughter is having these bizarre dreams about people being murdered in her family, like her mom being murdered, and then church being run over. So they don't explain that, but it's like she can see what's happening in her dreams. It's very interesting. Is explained at some other point in some other book, but yeah. So he like abandons her, who has so like pretty much just wrecked and traumatized. And the wife comes back, and that's how the book ends. And that's pretty much how it ends too. The movie and the 1989 movie and the book pretty much end exactly the same, and are pretty much the exact same thing. Now,
the remake.
I went into so much detail is because I needed everyone to know how perfect the movie, the 89 movie and the book is, and how awful the 2019 movie is.
Like every other 2019 movie. Because
Every
all of
other
them
one.
were awful.
No, I would disagree with that. There was a couple that I liked, but man, like, okay, so the 2019 version, it's pretty great. All the way, like I like the casting, I like the atmosphere. I don't know why they introduced children with animal head masks. That was kind of weird. I don't know why that's a thing. But the God damn it!
That most important scene where the kid dies. I suppose they didn't do it because I haven't watched it.
They kill the wrong kid. It's Gage who dies. It's Ellie. That changes everything, by the way, because Gage is too young to leave at her in-laws or at her parents' house, so she takes him back with them to it kind of similarly, like the daughter does kill the neighbor, and does end up killing the mom, but not in the way it's supposed to. So, like I said, it's very laid out the way it did in the 2019 one.
Oh my god! So they changed everything.
It changes everything. The father saves Gage, but Ellie gets hit by the tanker. And I have a big complaint about that death scene because you didn't actually need to show me anything, and the fact that you showed me something, it was awful. This is a rated R movie. If it was a PG-13 movie, I'd understand the lack of blood. All right, you don't need to show me a whole lot of blood. In the '89 one, they showed a shoe rolling off from the kid, and it was coated in blood. And I was like, okay, that's enough. That's all I needed to see in order to know. Okay, this girl, like, guy hits the brakes. Tanker flies. The tank flies off of the 18-wheeler. All right, and just starts shooting down the road. She's standing in the middle of the road. All right, it's not like she has battle armor on. Not like she has anything on. She's just a kid, right? This girl gets wrecked by a tank, just going like 80 miles an hour down the road. And first of all, both her shoes are still on because they decided to show the body a little bit. The shoes are still on. She's just kind of chilling in a ditch, and there's no blood. Now, it's not like I want to see a child destroyed by a tank. Okay, not saying that. All you had to do was have someone screaming Ellie, and then have the scene where it's like approaching her and it's very clear she's gonna get hit, and then they have this long and a quiet scene where it's like the tank just slides down, it continues going, and then all they had to do was cut to the funeral. That's all you had to do. You didn't have to show, because you showed me that, and it's a rated R movie. I'm sorry, she would have been wrecked. She would have been destroyed. She would not have been in the dish. She would have been in a tree. She would have been gone.
Yeah.
All right? She would not have been like 3 feet away in a ditch with both her shoes on. No bruises, no blood. That is not how it works. All right?
That doesn't make any sense.
It is very annoying because, like I said, it's not like I want to see a dead child, but how they showed it, like, took me out of the movie.
Exactly, because it breaks the suspension of disbelief, because you're already showing that it's basically the kid is sleeping there.
Yeah, that's what it was. It's like, oh, the kid's just chilling in the ditch. It's like, that's not.
No.
80 miles an hour, 15-year-old. Okay, she's destroyed. And
they have lost the sense of artistry, that you don't have to show that the kid is in pieces, because no, thank you.
No, I don't.
But you can show a bloody shoe.
Yes, that's what the 89 did, and I appreciate that.
You can hint. People are losing the sense of subtlety.
Yes.
It's like the kid is just chilling in a ditch. No, honey, you could have been a lot more subtle, and which fits perfectly with the horror genre, by the way. And that would have, that's something. I am not a screenwriter, and I know very little about movies. Eris is guiding me here today. But what I do know is that we are really driving into this age where people want to be spoon-fed everything, and I have a problem with that. Ties back to what I said about, like, the feedback that I got, that I am leaving people behind. It's because I am very subtle with things. Like, you have to be awake for my books. So I understand that this is the time, for spoon feeding everything.
Yeah.
And sometimes by spoon feeding too much, which is the kid chilling in the ditch, you lose people. At least people who think, like thinkers, you lose them, because it's like what you said, it took you out of the movie completely.
Exactly. It is. It was like, that's not. Well, first of all, like, you pretty much lost me the second that you change which child, because it's very important which child gets killed. Like, it's.
I have heard that Mr. King connects things between universes. Like, he has a whole universe of things. So the fact that you're telling me that
connected. Everything is connected.
Yeah, like, everything is connected. I like that. I respect that. It's a really cool concept. So the fact that the girl. Okay, I'm gonna say it, because I have not read everything about from Stephen King. I haven't. So my guess is that the girl has The Shining.
Probably, yeah. That's what I gathered too when I
because like, I mean, that's a form of clairvoyance. So I mean, the thing that's that you're seeing things in the dreams, and you are pretty accurate, like pretty spot on about the things that are happening around you without anyone telling you about it. That's clairvoyance. Clairvoyance in dreams is a thing, not just a Stephen King concept. He just took the concept and fictionalized it in a way that people can digest it. But this is a real thing. I'm sorry for people who don't believe in it. I respect that you don't believe in it, but it's a thing, and I have it. I do have it. I have dreams that happen later, so I don't need explanations for the girl having those dreams, because I understand it perfectly, because I have it too. Now, going back to the fictionalized version, I would say that that's The Shining. That's what I would be guessing.
That's what I gathered from. I'm reading The Shining actually right now, and kind of gathering from Danny's point of view, which they don't really touch on so much in the movie, but like having like kind of reading on that and then kind of understanding, it's like, yeah, well, that's very important. Oh, he wouldn't have put that in there if it wasn't very, very important. And so by switching them, you have ruined that. That whole thing is ruined because the whole point is like the daughter's the only one left. You know, it is.
Exactly. She's the survivor because she wasn't there.
Yeah. And so anyway, yeah.
It's like it's the little bit of hope, because King likes to do that hopeful thing, the little hopeful, like hope for the children. He likes the think of the children kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so having that one girl who survives, which is something I see in not just in Stephen King, but like a lot of people. Like a lot of people think of the children and the children survive, but not the big ones. Even we, my writer friend and I have considered that maybe the kids survive. We are not sure yet, but maybe the kids will survive. Even we have considered it. So it's a common, because we don't want to mess with children because that's really bleak, and most of us we don't want to go there. So like I understand why it's a thing. So like the fact that the girl dies in this 2019, that makes that takes away the whole essence, which is what you were talking about, Sahara, that had like the essence of the movie despite being changed. This 2019 remake, whatever that was, completely takes away the Stephen King, the Stephen King and a lot of other people's thing for the children,
Yes,
it takes it away. It completely makes it annoying.
It's not and they don't stop there. Whew, do they not stop there? So like I said, the movie was pretty much exactly what the book was until that point. And then they just when it went off the rails, it went off
They
the planet.
They derail completely. Oh my god.
So they do that and they go to the funeral. We have the obligatory everyone has a black umbrella and it's raining funeral scene. Because dear God, we can't have a funeral scene nowadays without everyone owning a black umbrella and it's raining. So
yeah, everybody has a black umbrella and it's always raining. My God, like we cannot it's too overdone.
What a damn trope.
It's too tropey.
It's
too tropey.
I have a red umbrella. I have a red umbrella. I don't have a black umbrella. I mean, I'm not buying a black umbrella. It's like, oh, we need to have a black umbrella.
Can we have a funeral in I don't know? Can we have a funeral? I don't know, in the snow? Maybe it's just a snowy day. Maybe if you want to make it like sad and bleak,
you don't have to. All you have to do is make the skies gray. Or you don't even have to do that. You can have a contrasting atmosphere. Like the world goes on. Like so you can have a very sunny, beautiful day, which signifies, hey, the world goes on despite this death that has significantly impacted you.
Which is very realistic. Yeah, which is very realistic because people die and the world moves on. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like while you're
happens all the time.
Yeah, while you're left in mourning and whatever, like the world moves forward regardless of where you are emotionally, and that's kind of messed up in its own sense. It's
very sad. It's even sadder than a tropey scene with black umbrellas and rain.
Yeah,
like I understand that the emphasis that we have today, we have a big emphasis on show don't tell, show don't tell, show don't tell, show don't tell, show don't tell. I understand that you have to show everything, but if you show me everything and you do it too in the nose, then you're gonna lose me. It is a lot more sad and a lot more bleak to have a sunny day, or worse, your neighbors are having a party because they don't know that you're going through a funeral.
Yeah, because you don't know your neighbors and they don't know you. So it's like, man, like it's like way more depressing in my opinion than to have the, anyway, so we have that, which is like one of my slowly becoming one of my most
pet peeves
tropes, like of all time. Same with the unnecessary redemption arc. I hate that. It's like, no, you don't actually have to redeem everybody. Thank you. And see, one of the things I loved about Pet Cemetery was how he didn't learn his lesson. I love, you know,
Not
the cat,
everybody learns their lesson.
they don't. They continued, messing up and just keep going on. And he didn't learn his lesson. And actually, more specifically, he didn't learn his lesson twice. He didn't learn his lesson with Church. He didn't learn his lesson with Gage. So those are 2 times, So like he wouldn't.
Yeah, I mean, the dude has an issue with death.
Mm-hmm.
The dude has an issue with death because the cat, maybe he didn't care so much for the cat because
Mm-hmm.
it's a cat.
Yeah.
They bury. Oh, look, the kitty came back. So that
Mhm.
becomes a test. That becomes a test, and that becomes a temptation.
Yes.
Because now that your child was run over,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm talking about Gage because that's what the book was, and that's what let's forget the remake now. Let's forget that shit.
I don't wanna,
It sounds like it sucks. It sounds like it sucks. I don't want to. I'm not watching that one.
no, don't
But,
watch it
like,
because I'm going to continue telling you
no.
but here in a second why.
Yeah, you will tell me, but yes, like the thing about not learning the lesson is how Stephen King made it gradual. First is the house pet.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, some people just don't care for the pets. Some people do. I'm not saying that they don't. And I'm not saying, oh, he's the man, he doesn't care. No, I'm not saying that because I know men who cry for their deceased pets. I know people. So I'm not talking about that. It's just this particular dude didn't give a damn. It was just a house cat. He didn't care so much. The cat was run over. They buried the cat because of the child, mostly because of the child.
Mm-hmm.
So then the cat comes back. And that becomes both a test and a temptation in the sense that, oh, but look, the kitty came back. It's not the same, but the kitty came back. So when the man is touched with something that actually matters to him, which is Gage, then that becomes again the test and the temptation amplified because now he cares.
Mm-hmm.
And then the icing on the cake is that he doesn't learn his lesson because now the wife. And here we're going to, the carnal pleasures and, because some people don't care for their children either. Or they care, but not in the same degree that they would care for a spouse.
Yeah.
That's also a reality that I have to touch upon because my biological father doesn't exist. Hello, Daddy. If you're watching this, well, I'm sorry, not sorry. But I mean, it's a reality. It happens, especially with some men. I would say it happens a little bit less with women. It does happen though. But you know what I'm talking about. So then the wife is killed. And then he has even more temptation. He doesn't learn his lesson. He has an issue with death. He prefers to have a zombie wife who would fuck him over and even kill him than not having his wife. He cannot deal with death.
Yes, exactly.
He just can't. It's a character flaw that it's a character flaw, and in horror we do need that because you're playing on character flaws. You're playing hard on character flaws. Like you said, you don't need a monster of the week. In psychological horror, it's all about the flaws. It's all about not learning your lessons. It's all about consequences. That's what psychological horror is all about.
Yes. And it's been kind of hinted at that it feeds off of the thing where you bury it, whatever that thing is, that other world is, it feeds off of grief. And so it's almost like how
it's a
in the book and in the 89 version, what happens is they go get the cat fixed because and there's a whole thing about getting the cat fixed, which is not in the 2019 version. The whole thing about getting the cat fixed is the husband is very much against it because he is having problems with his marriage and he feels like letting the balls off the cat, which is not really how it goes, but that's how he views it, is when he gets snipped. It's like a reflection of like reality for him that he feels like he's snipped because how his wife treats him, and that they touch on that in the book. It's very interesting, that dynamic, and when the which also just kind of reflects like, hey, just the smallest things you can use to develop your characters, which I do enjoy. The what I can't remember if he ends up getting fixed. I think he does, but regardless, the reason they wanted to get him fixed is he would wander to look for a female cat. And they want to keep him out of the street, so they think if they get him fixed, he won't be wandering as much. But it was almost like fate was he was going to get ran over regardless. And it preys on your grief, and like it's that temptation, like you were talking about, that temptation to bring that back, your dead back.
Yeah. Like now you have a chance to bring them back, even though it won't be the same. Would you bring them back? Don't you want them back? So the thing is feeding off of that. Don't you want them back? At least even if it's not the same, don't you want them? What do you think? It's very it's malicious in that sense. Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of the catchphrase from the book, just the story in general is sometimes dead is better. And that, like, I just got goosebumps saying that because it's so chilling. It's like the idea of, would you want a loved one back? And usually people kind of hesitate because, they want, to have a loved one back. But at the same time, you good? You good?
I'm here. I'm here. I'm here. I need to mute for a moment, but I'm here and I'm listening. I just need to mute for a moment.
You're good. Yeah. Keep going. So it's just this, man, hold on a second. What was I talking about? I lost track what I was talking about. Yeah, it just feeding on your grief, and that, hey, it'll be okay. But he has a huge problem with death, which I think is reflected in the daughter. And the wife has a huge problem with death because of how her sister died. And all those things, it's like, man, like being able to deal with death is so important. And like in a healthy way. I think the husband thought, and this is why it's a little bit interesting, the husband thought he could deal with death in like a healthy way. It's found out he can't. It's too, it's too tempted. And when he wants to bring the wife back, he's just like, hey, well, Gage was in the ground too long. That's why he ended up messed up. No, we have to have, my wife just died like immediately. Like if I do it now, she'll be the same. It's like, no. What's here we go. And even though he was warned to not use the burial ground on humans, ultimately Lewis, yes, his name's Lewis. I just say husband because it's easier. Couldn't cope with the loss of his family. Yes, and that's what that thing preys on. In that burial ground, it preys on that idea. Very interesting. And the 2019 version, I hate that version. I do like a bad horror movie, but you didn't need to do that. Let me tell you why. Because I could almost forgive it. And watching the 89 one version actually makes me hate the 2019 version more, because I could forgive it for going with Ellie, because the idea of like this murderous CGI toddler is like horrifying in and of itself. Like just see the CGI monstrosity, and just like, okay, you didn't want to do that, cool, fine. The 89 one pulls it off perfectly, actually. And so it makes me hate the 2019 more, because the 89 one, which didn't have the type of technology that we have nowadays,
exactly. They had less technology and they pull it off way better than now that we have. Yeah,
they pulled it off with the child. It was like the child itself, and he didn't curse, which is like, that's not really that necessary. It's just more horrifying in the book, the idea of this child like cursing up a storm. He didn't need to. The idea was like, you know, he's murdering people, and the way that they shoot it and the way that they cut it is like perfect. So it tells me that you didn't even try, movie. I don't know why you didn't try, but
Mm-hmm.
you did, because 2019 you could have done it regardless. That little toddler that they had pulled it off. They didn't need CGI. They just got the guy to do it, and I don't know how they did it, but he did it well. And it has to be Gage. Gage has to be the one to do it, because Ellie needs to be the one left at home. So they skip a lot. There's a lot missing from the 2019 version. One of the things is there's no if I'm remembering correctly, they don't really explain the in-laws, which is very important because the husband's relationship with the in-laws is huge
Mm-hmm.
in the book. It plays a huge factor as to why certain things happen. Um, agreed. Agreed. John Lithgow is
Mm-hmm.
absolutely was perfectly cast. He's the one who plays. That's Judge. Am I blanking on that? Judge 2019. Pet Cemetery. I always want to spell cemetery correctly when I'm typing that out. Yes, that's him. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's not Judge. It's Jude.
I have spelling problems with that word too. I know how to spell it. I just confuse it all the time. So like it's nice. I mean, it feels less lonely to know that I'm not the only one.
Well, the problem is this Pet Cemetery. Cemetery is misspelled in there, so I'm always wanting to spell it. Yeah, I didn't realize until recently that Pet Cemetery was misspelled because it didn't cross my mind. But yeah, I know how to spell cemetery. It didn't cross my mind. But all right, so holy hell, it was. Oh, so when the in-laws are introduced, you don't know they're the in-laws because they don't call them anything. It's just a couple of old people are just taking the kid and the wife. You're just like,
Mm-hmm.
or the kid and the wife. And you're like, okay. I'm glad I read the book because I didn't know that was the in-laws until like 20 minutes later. Um, there's they don't build the relationship between Lewis and Jude, which is huge. You need to build
Mm-hmm.
that relationship. Um, I know I keep saying that some
This
people.
happens. This happens a lot with recent movie adaptations. They don't think of
Uh-huh.
the characters too deep.
They didn't build that relationship,
Like,
and they're like, oh, had him over
no, they
for,
don't.
oh, they had a beer one time. Oh, they had a oh, he was oh, he was over for dinner like one time. It's like that's not a relationship. You need to build it more. And they did that in the 89 version. Somehow could not bother to do that in the 2019 one. Instead, what they did in the 2019 one was they were like, hey, so you know that backstory about the wife's sister? Let's make that an entire subplot. It's like, no, she mentions that like one time and she's kind of traumatized like with it a little bit. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
there, but like no, they like shot like scenes, huge
This
scenes.
is this is a common mistake. This is a common mistake of newbie writers.
Mm-hmm.
So someone like me, for example, well, I'm not on that stage anymore. But like that's a common mistake of newbie writers that that we have to build a backstory because we need our characters to exist
Mm-hmm.
before the story begins. They have to have a life before the story begins. That's
Mm-hmm.
perfectly fine and dandy. But the problem is that a lot of newbie writers and apparently movie writers too,
Mm-hmm.
apparently,
Yeah.
they over focus on things that you don't need to go over and over and make a whole subplot out of it.
Mm-hmm.
You know those things because you are the author. You created these characters.
Mm-hmm.
You know it. And you knowing this, knowing all the information, knowing the whole backstory means that you can, throw in the breadcrumbs here and there where it's necessary. And only those subtle hints make your character, again, subtlety. We are missing subtlety.
Yeah.
And that's what gives your, yeah, that's what gives your characters a three-dimensional quality.
Yeah.
But
Well,
now it's like okay, so the woman has a problem with the sister's death and she's been traumatized. So now we're going to play on the tears of the audience and
just
the
gonna
grief of
show
the
it.
audience because we're gonna make a whole subplot out of it.
Yeah,
No.
they overshow it. It's like, yeah, they do show it and they talk about it, but like them overshowing it is what makes it
Hmm.
like, man, like almost
So
every
I
scene she's in, and they have like her flashing back to that. And I'm just like, okay, that happened when she was 8 and she's like in her 40s now. If she is
yeah,
that heavy, like why is it happening now? Like what and probably the house probably has something to do with like the pet cemetery, but it's like it's so over the top and that's what
they
this
overdo
yeah,
it. So again, I'm really right on the money, and this is the first time I'm saying that about myself, but I am right on the money when it comes to
yeah,
like the lack of
they need the
subtlety.
subtlety. Yeah, they need to invest more in subtlety. 100%. I agree that because, like, man, it's horrifying enough to like learn about that and to see it on screen like one time. But the more you show it to me, the less horrifying it becomes.
Hmm.
Um, and okay, so they send it off to the in-laws. You don't know they're the in-laws if you don't know who they are, which is like, oh my god. Like, okay, well, in that case, don't be so subtle. Like, why would I assume those are the in laws? I don't know. Am I assuming those are the grandparents? I don't know. I don't know who these people are. You need to just be like,
Hmm.
you need to just do a throwaway line of dialogue. It's fine. You sometimes have to do that.
You can, yeah. I was working with my editors for the short story that I wrote, the one that's
Mhm.
coming out in Halloween, the one that I'm gonna release soon.
Right.
I was working with my editors, and again, I was a little bit inaccessible in some parts, so I had to, because I fall in the other category. I am too subtle sometimes, and I do need to at in some
There's
particular spots.
hmm
I need to enhance a few things here and there. So that's
hmm
how I know that I'm on the other end. I am the one who needs to explain a little bit
Oh, I go
sometimes.
way too into
Sometimes.
backstory. So, because I get stuck in like research and development hell, basically, where I
Hmm.
just get stuck there and I don't end up writing anything. That has happened to me so many times. I just get exhausted
That
from the
doesn't
story,
that
and I
doesn't
just
really happen to me.
yeah, you
That
kind of
doesn't
have
really
a
happen to me.
different problem, like with
I
your
have the problem
say.
that I know too much,
Hmm.
and therefore I don't like I my problem is I don't want to be predictable
Yes,
at
I understand.
all. I want
Hmm.
the reader to be guessing
Yes.
all the way.
Hmm.
I don't want to
I get
tell the
that.
reader anything. And the problem is that I need to tell something sometimes so the
Hmm.
reader can make a connection.
Yeah.
Because I know all the connections because I'm the author. I
Yeah,
know
you
everything
created
because
it.
it's my story. Well,
Exactly.
okay, I have to make a point because we were talking about that with my editor. Not every author knows everything, and
No.
that's also a problem. But I don't have the problem. I have other problems. But
Mhm.
some authors, like the editors, for example, my editor commented that they asked the author, okay, but what about this, and like what happened to the character that made them react this way? And the author says, I don't remember. I think it was because or oh, I don't know really. I didn't think of that. That's a big mistake
Yeah, you
because then
yeah,
the editor
never
cannot help you to
yeah.
enhance what you need to enhance.
Yeah, you just
So
never
I
see that
at
point.
least I make my homework and I
Mhm,
develop my characters,
mhm. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, like, I
So
have a
so
tendency
like
to give too much backstory. I need to build an entire person in order to write, but that's not necessarily the case. So it's
I
like
mean it could be interesting. Like you could have like
but,
the
like, no,
most
I'm talking about,
important
like,
like
every character. Like, every character has, like,
mhm,
8 dimensions, you know what I mean? It's, like,
yeah.
too much, and I don't leave room for, like, the creativity to breathe. Um,
Mhm.
so that's kind of my problem. So I get trying to,
Mhm.
it's like and then also at the same time trying to
Just
write something.
just begin, like just write it. Like just do it. Just write it. Come on. Like yeah.
I know that's everyone that I talk to about that problem with literally tells me that, and I'm just like, but it's like
Yeah,
I'm too
but
afraid.
I mean, but no, but I do understand you. I do understand you because I don't have that problem in the sense that I do get to write. I
Mhm,
do it, But I understand you, because while I'm writing it, my mind is like, but what about blah 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 blah, and I'm going on the backstory at the same time that I'm plotting, which is weird, but like
Mhm.
my brain is just weird that way. But like it is a problem that I'm running with this sci-fi project. Like I'm not rushing that thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Neither of us is rushing that thing, because we want to have a lot of
Mhm.
dimension when it comes. Like we want to do this in a complete way, because now it's two authors for the price of one, so we really want to make it awesome,
Yeah.
and that's going to take a while. We're not going to rush that thing, but like we are subtle, both of us, and at the same time we are like, isn't this a little bit too out there? Like, how many times my co-author has said, don't you think maybe this is a little bit too out there? And I'm like, I don't think it is. You're just giving character dimensions and depth.
Mhm.
It's not that we're going to put all that in the book, but we know it. Like, we understand what's going
Yeah.
on here.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Exactly.
like, yeah, that's something that a lot of
Mhm.
movie writers are not, and even writers. Like, I'm not to give,
Mhm.
not to throw shade at newer books, but a lot of, I'm not saying all, because but a lot of newer books, I'm talking traditional publishing here, because
Mhm.
indie authors are doing a great job, many of them, not all, but I mean, you can find really good indie books. I
Mhm.
love it. But like, I'm seeing that the industry, like the
Mhm.
big machine is too focused on producing fast, commercial and fast and quick, quick money, quick buck.
Mhm.
And a lot of things are getting lost in the mix.
Yeah.
It's They lack the subtlety, they lack the complexity, they lack a lot of things. It's just, and then when you do the movie adaptations, they try to take an older book, they skim through it, because sorry, but that's a reality. They skim through it and they think they can adapt it because they skim through, and they have a
Mhm.
brief idea of the characters. They don't go in depth.
Yeah.
It's sad. I mean, because
Mhm.
because everything is so fast paced,
Yeah.
that people are reading and listening and doing everything at fast pace, and it's really hard to
Yeah.
keep up. The human
Exactly.
brain is not adapted to all of this, so this is why we have the mistakes that we have right now.
Yeah, and like that, this movie, the 2019 version, suffers so hard from that. It's like it didn't earn all the stuff that it wanted to produce. The 89 one does. It earns
Hmm.
like the emotional payoffs, everything that's happening. It's like, well, I mean, it
it,
also
it's a good it's a
yeah,
great it's a fair and good tribute to the
yeah,
original
it is.
source.
It really is. And it was like, all right, and in that way, even though there were a few things that were different, I didn't mind them.
Mm.
Um,
Hmm. Hmm.
but it kept the spirit, it kept what it was supposed to do, like, all the important things that the 2019 one just cuts out, it's like this, keeps it alive, it keeps it going, and, it gives room for the viewer to
Do
breathe,
we
but
I'm very curious, because I am that kind of person, and I know that's gonna get me in
Mhm.
trouble someday. But like, do we have access to, like, who are the people behind those scripts of the 2019
Uh,
stuff?
2019, I don't know anything about, like, hold on, hold on a second. Oh, I always love
Like,
it when
who are the
it
people
says
behind?
story by, okay, so okay. So they have screenplay is somebody and story is by somebody else. I don't know if that's normal.
Yeah, that will be a problem.
That
And
sounds wrong.
okay, that
Doesn't that sound like that's not like that should, like, if this shouldn't it be the same person? Am I wrong? I don't know anything about that kind of thing, but like that feels like the story and the screenplay should be the same person. I don't know. I don't. Does that make sense at
it
all?
seems like a problem with. No, like that's why I ask. I mean, because we are having a problem in our. I hear Loki talking about this all the time,
Mhm.
and a lot of other. Loki is the one that I have heard the most talking about it, but the Valkyries too, and I think the Ambassador, and like a lot of people are
Mhm.
talking about it, in the sense that we are getting characters destroyed.
Yeah.
And now that you're telling me, that's why I'm asking, who is behind this? Who? Because
It's
like we
too.
talk about,
Yeah.
we talk about the ubiquitous them, but who are they? Who are these people? I want to know. Because, like, are they newer writers? Are they people of our age that are only starting over and are taking like a practice, like a guinea pig with an older film that they are trying to remake? What is this? College kids with their college projects? What is this? Because honestly, what is it? I want to know the reason behind
Okay, well, that's what's
the.
annoying.
No,
Okay.
I mean it.
Not you,
Yeah.
no, but I just found out the guy who wrote the screenplay was a part of the movie 1408, which is another Stephen King adaptation, and I love that movie.
1408, isn't
Yeah,
it? Isn't that a hotel room
yes,
thing?
yeah, it has Samuel Jackson and John Cusack in it. They both, I thought it was a pretty good movie. Um, that kind of acts me off a
If
little bit.
that's a horror, right? I
Yeah,
think
it's
I
horror.
watched it.
Yeah. And he doesn't leave. He can't leave the room. That's kind of
I think I
basically what
watched
it is.
it. Isn't that a guy that books into a hotel and
Yeah, he's like I think he was an author. Maybe he wasn't an author.
okay. Yeah,
But
I think
yeah,
I watched that film.
he like debunks ghost places that say that they're haunted or whatever. And it is kind of a classic tale of somebody who's supposed to debunk stuff and stumbles across something real, which will happen probably eventually, but
Hmm.
here we go. Yeah. Story equals. Okay, so we got an explanation. Story writer writes the basic plot line, screenplay, writing the story. Well, I guess that just seems weird to me, but I can see that they're two different things. I understand that, but like, so you have the general plot line, but then actually like writes the dialogue, writes the film script. Okay, I guess I can see that. I can see that, like, why those are two different things. You
Yeah.
know?
Okay. Thank you for. I think I see it now. Thank you for explaining that. That makes sense.
All right.
Now I'm
Now we.
understanding it.
But like when you just
Yeah.
first when you're it's like okay, somebody lobs you a story idea and then you write the book. And I know that does happen. Um,
Yeah.
but
Ghost writers. Yeah,
yeah,
that can
but
happen.
that just sounded bizarre to me because it almost felt like, well, shouldn't you be doing that? But yeah,
Mhm.
right, plot
Mhm.
line and
Yeah.
then do that. Yeah, I could see that. But
But then
I'd like to know
is there a
really.
miscommunication between them?
Um,
Maybe like
actually
it.
I'm gonna blame the director actually because they're the one in charge of everything. So I'm gonna blame the director
Mhm.
for allowing that to happen. Um, no, I understand. Thank you, thank you, thank both of you, Josh and Mike. Thank you all both for like, explaining that to us. I don't know the movie
Yeah,
business,
thanks a lot. I mean, I
but
don't me neither. I'm a writer of books. I don't know about like I need to learn. That
yeah,
I really like it when people explain it to me because like I can learn. It's like oh, okay, that makes sense. So thank you.
yeah, it makes
But
sense.
like I'm just trying to get to the bottom of like what is going on with the destruction of
It's
structure and like plot lines and characters. What's going on?
yeah,
Because
because it
like
was fine
I
until that
really want
pivotal scene.
one of these episodes. I
Hmm.
really want one of these episodes to be like something that we find that it's done well and we can like rave about it. I want one of these episodes to be good
Oh yeah.
to like
Well,
Sahara, but like
yes.
to you know.
Yes, I mean we can do that.
I think we're gonna find it. I think we're gonna find it in older movies.
Yes, I
I
would
think we're
agree.
gonna find it in older movies because the new movies. That's why I want to get to the bottom of it. Like I want to
Mhm.
understand. Because my point here is not like to be the nagging bitch who complains. No, I
No,
want to
no, no.
understand
Yeah,
what's going on, so I can
yeah,
like bring some perspective that could help other people to probably work on it and make it better. So that's
yeah,
why that it's not just
exactly.
complaining. It's like understanding what's happening so I
Yeah,
can gear my brain and provide a potential solution. That's what I'm trying to do here. But before
yeah,
that, I need to understand what is going on.
yeah. Like I said, the only bad thing that I had, like basically from what I've been discussing, is the 2019 version of Pet
Is
Cemetery
the remake?
because
Yeah,
Sahara movie
yeah,
book
exactly.
fine, Book of Pet Cemetery '89 movie fine. 2019. I
Mhm.
haven't even told y'all how bad it gets yet. I think it's really bad. But
Oof, tell me more then.
all right, we'll continue. So oh yeah, by the way, here we go. If something is a huge change for field TJ director or producer, yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like I'm blaming the director because it changes everything. It literally does.
Mhm.
So I'm guessing it is. And yeah, I can't imagine see what the screenwriter has done to their ideas and characters. Well, in this case, it's like Stephen King, who is still alive and kicking, probably was invited to the premiere of it, which I would just imagine as the author. I don't know why you wouldn't do that. But to imagine seeing that and having to be around people and like it's just
I think I think that Mr. King is kind of used to it, you know. He would be like, "Oh well."
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
he is
Unfortunately.
already so. I mean, he is already so established
Mm-hmm.
that he already knows the money, so he
Yeah,
already knows. You know, he's a big name. He is huge. So
he's called the
I
king
don't
of
think
horror.
that.
You know.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. So I don't think a bad remake would, because it's a remake. It's He already has the 1989 movie to, to
Mm-hmm.
remember. So I don't think that he would be affected with one or two or three or 10 bad remakes, because first of all they are remakes.
Mm-hmm.
He can always go back to the original film adaptation. Sorry, my
Mm-hmm.
tongue cannot today. So already has a source to go back to. He has his books and the original adaptations, which are fine. So he is kind of okay with it. Now, if it were a new author, say me, and I get a really bad movie adaptation a la 2019, whatever remake it was,
Mm-hmm.
I would be distraught because
Be very
I'm a new author. Because because that will be like the first thing that people hear that comes from me. Mr.
mm-hmm.
King doesn't have anything to worry about. I mean, he's already big. People can do, but basically they can do whatever they want. I'm not saying that he wouldn't have feelings. Maybe he would. I don't know. I don't live in his mind. I'm not assuming. I'm just saying that he already
Right.
has a lot to go for. He already
Mm-hmm.
has a lot of other things to
Yeah,
cushion the potential bad feelings that he may have.
yeah, and he was in the '89 one. Fun fact, everybody. He
Yeah.
was a pastor seeing over a
Oh. Oh, he
funeral.
had
He was literally
a
in it.
cameo.
Yeah, he was literally in it, and he wasn't in the 19
Uh,
one. Yeah,
uh,
I thought that was interesting. The 2019 one, he wasn't in,
nice.
which I can't blame him at. So anyway, the so where do we get? So yeah, the Ellie being killed was a stupid idea. So she comes back, obviously. Um, she comes back, and she's just kind of there for a few days, which is odd.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like just chilling or whatever. And yeah, I give points to the actress. She did really well as a child. Child actors are very, very hard to good ones are very hard to come by. She actually did a really, really good job. Um, it was just like it's not supposed to be her, so um, so it devolves pretty quickly. Um, I can't quite remember how it happens, but she goes over to the neighbor's house. Um, and oh, I'm sorry, my bad. Um, I skipped over a bit.
Mm-hmm.
The yeah, no, I'm gonna rip this thing apart. The wife comes back, which she does in the book, but she comes back with Gage because she's not gonna leave her toddler there at her in-laws. And she comes back, and well, she instead of leaving Ellie there, Ellie would have been left there, and that would have been fine. But bringing Gage back, God, it changes everything to bring Gage. Okay, again, everything. They were just like, well, we already ruined it by making Ellie the person who died, so we'll just keep ruining it. And it's like, Why did you do that? Why did you decide to go, fuck it? We'll ruin everything. Because you could have made it the same story, just have Ellie be the person, which is, I thought, where they were going. No, that's not where they went. They changed everything at the last, part of this movie.
That hurts.
So the daughter is there when the husband, when the wife and Gage come back. And when that happens, she sees it and she's sort of explained what the pet cemetery is, which part of the horror of her being killed at the neighbor's house she had no idea why her toddler was back from the dead and stabbing her to death. That's awful. That's horrifying. No, she comes back, and of course the mom's sketched out as hell, seeing her daughter was supposed to be dead, alive. And she locks her into the room, and she kind of locks herself in the room. I think the daughter at this point went ahead and killed the neighbor. Now the daughter has this creepy animal head, and it's like, there's no reason for the animal head. I don't know why it's there. Animal head. Oh yeah. By the way, the wife of Judd, she's back. She's like a ghosty spirit thing, and she's back. She helps kill him for some reason. I don't know why. He didn't explain that. I thought they had a good relationship, but yep, that happens. So yep, we're just doing that now for some reason. I'm glad I knew who that was. Thank you for that.
Yeah, it seems like no effort.
No
effort whatsoever. It's like shock value, shock value, shock value, shock value. Everybody killed, and animal heads and things, and I don't even I understand the be spontaneous. I understand that we are living in times that are kind of rough, and spontaneity, and be creative and be spontaneous, but okay, be spontaneous with your own shit, not with something that already exists.
Yeah. Well, yeah, the daughter and his wife, which is supposed to have really bad arthritis, is now just stabbing him to death. And it's like, all right. Great. My favorite character, and the only thing I was rooting for at this point, is that we've killed him. Great. I knew that was going to happen, but man, how they did it was awful. So then it becomes a slasher flick very quickly, which is not correct. The daughter is trying to get into the room where the wife and Gage are. The husband goes and checks on the neighbor, finds out he's dead, comes back, he's outside. She's trying to drop Gage from the window because Ellie's trying to get in and murder her, and and it's like we keep getting flashbacks to the sister's death. You're just like, okay, thank you. Unnecessary, that I don't need. I know she died. I understand that. So she just drops Gage from a 2-story window, and thank God the dad decides to catch him. Because he would have died, or at least broken his leg really bad. And then the daughter just stabs her mom to death, which is like, okay, that's wrong. With the just I think a giant kitchen knife, like Michael Myers style, we're just going in there.
Oh my God! Okay,
real bad. Somehow
it no longer sounds like Pet Sematary. It sounds like whatever.
It's not. Like I said, it just gets worse. Somehow. All right, so I told you about the bramble. Do you remember about the bramble? You have to go up this big tree thing, tree steps, and if you go in the wrong spot, it just it goes into the you have to go up a certain path in order to get there. Daughter, 10 years old. Daughter's apparently superhuman now because she's dragging her mom to the pet cemetery. It's no longer the dad who buries the mom. By the way, the daughter had no way of knowing this. I guess she just knows now because she was reborn from the pet cemetery. So she's just like, all right. we're just gonna drag my mom, who is like 3 times my weight probably, up to the pet cemetery.
Oh
And
my
yeah, she's the one
god.
who buries her mom in the pet cemetery, which is just like, holy shit. Well, that destroys all of that. Um, let's see what else. Oh yeah,
We have lost all
we literally
the
lost the plot.
characterization. Yeah.
I literally
We
lost it.
have literally lost everything.
Oh,
It doesn't
we're,
sound like Pet Cemetery anymore. It doesn't sound
we're
like
not
the Stephen
done.
King book anymore. It sounds like anything. It sounds like
Oh,
any trashy horror movie ever. Like whatever.
we're not done. It gets
Oh
worse.
my god.
So
It gets. Woo.
So we have that. So she somehow did that. I don't know how she did that. They don't show her dragging her up there. Why? Because, well, that's not going to happen. Then she, so then he's securing Gage in the car because he's like, we're bouncing, we're leaving. And I don't remember what he was doing. He was just standing there like he should have just bounced. I guess because he knew the wife was stabbed. I think. Oh yeah, he knew the wife was stabbed because he came out and she knocked him out. So she knocks him out of she knocks him out and then drags. So not only, if I'm remembering this correctly, I don't actually care anymore if I'm really, all women are like 75. What doesn't matter. But she's like she's in. If I'm remembering this correctly, I could be remembering this wrong because I was really checking out at this point because it was so awful. So they somehow got this little like 10-year-old. I don't care how old she is. She looks 10. She like dragged
child.
a 10-year-old,
Yeah.
a child, like a child, like a maybe middle school, maybe middle school, down the stairs. So the mom
Dragging
was
her
on a
mom.
two-story. The mom was on it in her bedroom in a 2-story house. So she somehow drug her mom all the way downstairs, outside, up to the pet cemetery. Isn't close. You had to go through all of this. You had to go through a whole path in order to get there. All right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not paved. It's not a paved path.
It's not in their backyard.
Up the stupid. Yes, I know. I mean, it's a driving. This is. I love Pet Cemetery. I love Pet Cemetery and what they did in the 20s because they didn't need to do it. They didn't have to do this. They didn't have to ruin this. You fucked up by making it Ellie. You didn't need to do all this other stuff. So 10-year-old dragging her mom goes up the bramble, which you have to know the pattern in order to get to it. All right. Then you have to drag into like this alternate fucking dimension. I guess. I don't know. It's kind of between worlds. It's probably something explained somewhere else. I don't know. I don't really care at this point. Then she doesn't have a shovel, mind you. The bitch don't have a shovel. Okay, so I guess she's just grabbing like the dirt and then we're just doing this, just digging into the dirt like a dog.
Wow.
All right, and buries her mom, which that's like her mom's like over 5 foot, and you need to bury her down there. Then you need to get these big rocks. You need to put it on top, and then she needs to get that down. Yeah, sure, fam. I'm sure that happened. Right. Okay. No. False. Fuck you. All right. There's a reason why you cut it. So all you see is her dragging her. Like it cuts from her mom being stabbed to like the kid dragging her mom to the pet cemetery area. Doesn't show her go up. Doesn't do any of that. Why? Because ain't no way. There's no way that she's doing that.
They completely lost credibility all the way. Oh my god.
So no. So I don't know why the dad. I think the dad, the dad is securing Gage in a car seat in the car. And then like steps out of the car, and I guess it has no situational awareness. I would be adrenaline pumping, like I would have like I would be. It was like it'd be like I'm just hyped up like on 12 energy drinks. Like I am like super awake and like super situational. Like I know everything. I am sketched out. I don't trust anything. I don't turn my back with a damn. It's like I don't know what happened. And
Mm.
then he gets impaled by the zombie wife, and then the little girl and the wife drag his ass up to the pet cemetery.
Oh wow. Okay, so the whole family.
A grown man is being carried by the wife and like the
And the child. Ah.
Oh, hey man. You're good.
Okay, so
Okay.
yeah, that was something.
Oh,
I
oh,
mean,
we're
so
not done. We're not done yet.
oh
He gets
my
impaled. He
god.
gets impaled and drags. Of course, we cut all that out. We can't see the wife and the 10-year-old dragging a fully grown, like 6 foot tall man, to the pet cemetery and go through that whole process again. We can't do that. So you know what we do instead? We cut it. And then all you see is the three of them walking back from the pet cemetery. By the way, it doesn't happen like that. There's like hours involved in order for it to actually
Mhm.
be, for
So
them to
basically,
become the
if I
zombie.
would try to understand the people adapting this bullshit, like if I would try to understand this,
Mhm.
it would be like the thing, the force in the pet cemetery, in this otherworldly thing. The thing just wants souls. It eats souls. So
Something like
they are
that.
going to, yeah, so they are going to drag every living being to the pet, kill every
Mhm.
living being to drag them to the cemetery so they are buried there so they can come back as zombies. So the
Yeah,
thing can just eat every soul.
yeah,
It is,
I
it's
guess.
ridiculous. I
Yeah,
mean, that's the only way that makes sense.
yeah. And I guess because, not that I've tried, but like he just gets impaled with I don't even remember what it was, but through the
Yeah, but
back.
like,
So through the
yeah.
back, through the rib
So
cage.
like,
Which,
so
by the
like,
way,
okay,
rib cages aren't fragile things, okay?
yeah.
Like,
So like, basically every zombie, every zombie that
super
comes
strong.
back
I
from the,
guess.
yeah, every person that comes back from the thing is a zombie now that will also collect more living beings to bring them there so the thing can feed off of them. That's the only
Yeah,
way that this nonsense makes sense,
yeah.
which transforms this into yet another crappy b horror movie,
It's not
another
the
crappy.
same movie.
It's
It's
not the
not the
same
same
movie
concept.
anymore.
It's not the spirit. And then this is how it ends. So then you see the three of them coming back. They're like slow
Yeah.
walking, and you're done at this point. You don't care anymore. The cat
Yeah.
jumps on top of the hood of the car because we're like looking at the car, and Gage is just chilling there. He's just chilling there, kind of just like I don't know what the hell's going on. And then of course like the dad just goes hey, like on the window of like the driver's seat, and it cuts to black as like you hear the door open, so like they're about to kill the kid, and I'm like,
Yeah.
so you're telling me that this beautiful amazing psychological horror concept about how abandonment
Uh,
issues, not letting go, not accepting death, and
Temptation and
letting yeah.
testing,
Yeah,
you know.
exactly. And letting it consume you to the point of insanity. Um, you're
It becomes just another zombie movie.
it's a zombie slasher flick now. Oh, great. By the way, why didn't if we were so important about that? Because it's like, all right, well, you took the idea of the daughter being scared of dying and everyone around her dying, and like you
Mm-hmm.
had her murder everyone, which defeats the point of that. Having everyone being brought back to life, that's not the same, By the way, fun fact, I actually found this out. The creature that lives in that thing that's kind of providing that, it doesn't
Mm-hmm.
like it when you bring other people back to life. So why on earth would because that's why it doesn't give you that's why it doesn't give you the right like soul. It's something else that's living inside of them. It's not that person. It's like something else is living inside of that body. Um, And it's like, well, why would that thing who doesn't like that basically have it driven to the point of that happening all the time, where it's just like dead and then we bury it and it comes back because it's like it doesn't like that. Also, one thing, why didn't you do that to the neighbor? Why didn't you drag his ass back? Why didn't we just do it?
Exactly. Then exactly that.
Because she had a good
Then
relationship.
exactly. My attempt of explaining it then doesn't make sense either, because then the neighbor would also come back,
Hmm.
because the thing would be yeah.
Yeah,
Then it
yeah,
would be like any other typical zombie apocalypse movie where everybody becomes a zombie because the thing wants to eat souls, blah blah blah. But no, so that doesn't make sense either. So my explanation doesn't. Yeah. So
yeah,
basically, it just doesn't make any sense.
no, it
I
completely
tried.
ruins it,
I
and there's
tried.
and yeah, there's no one. No, I tried too. I was like, all right, so let me just try to give this movie as much as possible. Is okay. Maybe they didn't want to deal with the daughter coming back and what that would entail, or not the daughter, the son, and try to CGI that. Okay, fine. Watch the '89 one. They pulled it off, so there's no excuse for that. And then,
Exactly.
um, and then I tried to be like, okay, this is alternate dimension time. Cool. We'll just see Ellie. Fine. But then they didn't do it. They
Hmm.
didn't do it the right way. What they should have done is they should have had the exact same plot. She leaves his Gage there at the house. Fine. She leaves his Gage there. Okay. And then she comes back and everything happens the same way. But
Yeah, I mean, again, and they are taking away the concept of connecting all the universes. Like the whole stories interconnected.
yeah,
In the Stephen King universe, they are taking that away too. So,
well,
like, really, if you're gonna like adapting a book into a film is a huge task.
yes, yes.
It requires a lot of empathy and a lot of understanding, because you have to understand the material. It's like, okay, I'm going to say this, it's like translating a book into another language.
Hmm.
You
Yeah.
have to understand, you have to not just speak the language, you have to understand the voice of the writer and transmit that same kind of voice into your other language that you are
Hmm.
translating, which is the task that I will be doing in the future. I'm going to be translating from English to another language,
Hmm.
and that's going to be a task, but I offered myself for that specific thing because I already know the author. The author has a very distinctive voice that I understand because it's a voice that I hear often because it's a friend of mine.
Hmm.
So I am used to the way that this author speaks,
Hmm.
and the way that the author speaks translates into the way that the author writes. So like it's very like I know that I am reading this author because it sounds like her talking. It really just sounds like that. It has that voice quality to it, and that's a big plus. And so there I offered because I understand the author, because I have spent
Hmm.
months already with this author, and I have like got to know the a little bit of the thought process and the speech patterns, the way that the author comes across, the casual way of writing, the easy, you're just having a chat with me kind of talking voice. The writing voice is also as if you were just chatting with her.
Hmm.
The book is just her chatting, basically. So that's why I offered, like, hey, I could make a translation for this, of course, with not with a tight deadline, because blind,
Hmm.
but I'm gonna need some time to do that. But I offered myself to do that particular thing because I have an understanding of what's going on, and for having a proper translation of a book, so the voice of the author doesn't get lost in translation completely, because it will, because it's a translation, but not completely. Then there's gotta be understanding, and this is the same thing applies to movies. That's why I was talking about translation. Like,
Hmm.
adaptations from books to movies, it is like a translation, because we're translating a story from one medium to another, and you
Hmm.
do have to have a lot of understanding of the source material to be able to do it in a way that, like you said, in a way that it's faithful to the source material, which is what these people completely forgot about. And it's
Well,
just another zombie slasher movie, like you said. What the crap.
yeah, it loses everything. That's what I was
It,
so angry about it. It really, man, it really does. It loses it all. I don't
yeah,
know
plus,
how. I don't know how they got away with it. I actually they didn't because I mean it's not like I trust Rotten Tomatoes, but hold on a second. Cemetery 2019 film. Um. Oh.
Mm-hmm.
A momento. Let me.
Spanish.
Yeah, no, it's just so yeah. Let's see. There it is. Oh, whoops. I can't blame them for this 58% and a 33%. Now, like I said, when the audiences in this day and age and film criticism in this day and age, when audiences and critics agree that something is shit, you have something beautiful upon your hands, which is awful. You have something beautifully awful in order to get actual like critics and then user audiences to agree. It's bad.
Mm.
And it's very very forgiving because it says Pet Cemetery takes its source material in a few different directions, but this remake feels like uh feels feels like an let me see what does that say exhuming almost basically it's more of a burial than it is a revival, which whew,
Yeah.
whew, I agree. I agree. I agree
That's
100%.
amazing.
Yeah,
That's
the wording
amazing.
power clever, but like it is something. Man, it was awful. It really was. Like that's what happened in the movie. How did y'all get so? If you would have told me that they switched directors halfway through the movie, I would have believed you because the first half is so it's fine. Now, did
It's
they
fine.
show? Should they have lingered on some things a little bit more? Yeah. Should there have been a few things in there that the atmosphere was there? I was fine with it. I was cool. I was like, this is pretty okay. This didn't happen in the book. That didn't happen. Blah, 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 nitpicking a little bit, but then that's how most adaptations are. Um, man, but having they didn't have to go that far. They didn't have to make it to the point of they didn't have to destroy the source material to the point of like insanity. So yeah, that
It's
was
really sad.
it
Really
is
sad to hear.
it
Really
is
sad to hear.
it's really really awful. I don't know why they did it. Man, I have no idea.
It's a shame, but like I said, like if so, they did switch directors or something. They did.
No, I said if they
Uh,
did, I wouldn't be surprised because it
yeah.
is not
If they did, I would believe it. Like, oh yeah, that will make sense. Actually, that would make sense.
yeah.
It is just overall very sad because it's like I said, there's so many problems with this, like the lack of subtlety, the overshowing, the loss of the essence of the source material, the loss of the plot,
Mhm.
the excessive shock value things, like the lack of believability, the kid is gonna be dragging the mom. Yeah, sure, yeah, okay.
Okay,
So
this is a
like the
sorry.
the slasher zombie flick, it makes it cheap. That's the word I was waiting for, and it finally came. It makes it all so cheap.
I just saw this and this really upset me. It's on the
Well,
Wikipedia page of the film, of the
hmm
2019 film, and it says critics and audiences were both divided on the changes between the film and the book, though many named it better than the 1989 adaptation.
what?
Wrong. You're objectively wrong.
Yeah, like
No.
again, but wait, hang on. Those are people who probably have not read the book.
Oh no, no, I don't care. It doesn't have to do just with the book. I can take the book out. What I'm talking about is the atmosphere is ruined. You had this eerie ambiance, this horror uh,
But yeah, but I
elements,
understand. Okay, yes, but do
but
you realize that zombies are in fashion?
Oh, are they? I thought they like ran out of fashion like a few years ago. I don't know what's in fashion now. Oh no, I do know what's in fashion. The demon possession's like super in fashion in horror at the moment. I thought zombies were kind of
Uh-huh.
a thing that kind of died out. Yes, pun intended. Um, like at least a few years ago. But I don't know. It might have been in fashion when this movie was being developed. 'Cause I
Exactly.
know, but at the
Exactly.
same time, it's not better than the 1989 version because the 1989
No, it
version,
isn't.
no, it's not. It's just not, and that's not just from the book point
It
of view.
isn't.
That's just from the atmosphere isn't bad. They don't linger on characters enough to make things awful. You know, they don't explain who people are. Like you don't know who the in-laws are for a while.
Hmm.
They don't.
Yeah, but like what I'm saying is that people think this way because of what they were consuming just prior to the 2019, you know. There is this belief, not from us and not from the group that we hang out with and
Mhm.
things like that, but there is the common belief that what we have now is better than the previous times
No,
because
well,
previous
not
previous
always.
times bad. Previous times bad. What we have now good. It's it is this stupid mentality that we have lately. And so they were consuming a lot of zombie films and zombie series. I mean, with The Walking Dead was a thing, and I don't remember what else was a thing, but like zombie stuff were very in.
Hmm.
So it is very recent and fresh in their psyche. Therefore, when they see something more subtle, more psychological, more, more from the 80s, previous times, they are like, the 2019 is better because it's more spoon fed, you know?
Let's see.
I'm sorry, but I'm going back to what I'm seeing in the literary world, and it translates to the movie world as well, because it is all over the arts in general.
Hmm.
It's
Yeah,
just,
no, the
it's
art
yeah,
is.
that's why people in our times, unfortunately, and I wish it changed, but there are too many factors. I'm not saying, and I repeat, I have to be very clear with what I'm saying because I don't want to come across the wrong way. I am not speaking from a high horse perspective. I am speaking from a person or an alien trying to empathize with the current state of the world. We live in a world that goes too fast for people to care too much about things. So when things are spoon fed to them, they tend to prefer it. It's sad,
Okay.
but it's what's
Yeah,
but it is what's going on.
this makes me mad.
Eh,
There's like 100,000 reviews on the audience section, and it gets like a 60%. Was it the greatest thing ever? No. Was it like dead
no.
on to the book? Yes. And honestly, was it scary?
Nah.
Kind. It's more based and maybe Pet Cemetery really can't be done like 100% because there's a lot of psychological growth. It's there's a lot of things wrong with modern day art. Um,
Mhm.
and that's why I say that just in general that I hate modern art, not because I hate modern art, but the attitude of many modern artists is
Mhm.
obnoxious.
Very.
Very, very obnoxious. Um,
Exactly. And that's why I'm trying to be careful because I don't want to come across that way either. That's not what I
yeah,
mean.
yeah, no,
Not at
and
all.
it's but they come from like this. It's like pretentious,
Yeah,
and it's
absolutely.
kind of like you're stupid as my viewer, right? So I have to spoon feed you stuff, and I can't make this big intellectual thing without coming off super without how to put this.
Don't make it too hard. Don't make it too
Yeah,
hard on your audience.
you can't make it
And
too
that's
hard,
and
but
that's what the agent told me.
yeah,
Don't
exactly. Which
make
just
it too hard
surprised
on
me.
your readers. Yeah,
It's
like
like
don't make it
really,
so hard on your reader. Don't leave them behind. And I'm like, I never thought I was leaving them behind. I mean, It's a
Maybe I'm
pretty
really
conventional story.
well.
I was, or so I thought. I thought it was conventional, I thought so. No, you're not being conventional at all. It's not
Mhm.
what people are used to. So
It's like I am a little biased on the adaptation portion of it, and I know that it's a bit
hmm
contrasty with Sahara. What I like about 1989 version is it does keep the spirit of it. It's
hmm
in Sahara, I can see you cutting stuff out and still keeping the spirit of it. Pet Cemetery is like very small universe, you know.
Yes,
Sahara is very big universe. That's why you cut
exactly.
stuff out. In Cemetery,
It's
you really can't cut stuff out and change things
Pet
because
Cemetery. Okay, exactly, because
so
it's a small town. It's
yeah,
a small town film. It's a one family
mhm,
thing kind of film. It's like one
yeah,
family, one small town. It's like you're saying, small universe
mhm.
versus Sahara was like a big, like global, like
Yeah. It's like
Africa, the States,
international,
history. You
timeline.
know,
Like, yes, it's a huge thing, and it is hard to take that on, but it's also very hard to take on a very small, specific, like little window almost. Uh,
You cannot
and
make too many. Yeah, you cannot
yeah,
make too many changes to a
yeah,
small universe kind of production because
exactly.
you are taking things out, things that are important to the way that the story was created. So, like, exactly, I'm 100% with you on that.
Yeah, it's like, why did you need to change that? And I could have given
Yeah.
it to you. I could have given it to you, but you don't have the spirit because the end of the 89 one is like, okay, I kept the spirit, and yes, it's a better adaptation, but even if they would have changed it to Ellie, it still would have kept the spirit. It just done
Mm.
it everything like that and changed it to Ellie, it would have kept the spirit. It doesn't keep the spirit with this modern remake. It doesn't, man. By the end of it, you're just annoyed because it's like, oh, you just changed it
Mm-hmm.
modern,
By the end of it, yeah, by the end of it, you don't care anymore, which
no.
is which is okay. And I have to say, back to the business mentality,
Mhm.
by the end of it, it's the end of the movie, therefore you have already consumed it, therefore it doesn't matter anymore, therefore they can move on to the next thing.
No, yeah, 100%. Yeah, you were right.
So
You were right
it's,
about that. It's like, oh
yeah,
well, we
I
got
mean,
you to watch this far. We got you to even purchase the ticket. We got you to pay for this. We got you to sit down and watch this. So the ending doesn't
yeah,
matter, does it? Because you already consumed like all of it. So
exactly. So again, it's too much. It's the other extreme of mine. It's like I'm too much art, zero business, which I'm trying to change. But
yeah,
these people are too much business and zero art whatsoever. So,
mm,
and that's also a problem, and that also needs to change.
yeah. You need there is a middle ground of, hey, I want to make money, but also want to do what I love. That I mean, that's kind of the
hmm
general. Like, I think everybody wants that. Um,
Yeah,
they want that freedom to be able to do something that they love, obviously within reason, and make some money
this
off
is
of it.
this is
Um,
why indie publishing, this is why
mhm,
self-publishing is a thing now
mhm,
for many writers, because writers want to have that creative control.
yeah,
Because
100%.
traditional publishing is not giving them that.
Mhm,
The thing is that I am also seeing a little bit of restrictions in self-publishing as well. Like it's trickling down to self-publishing, the whole business mentality thing that you have to
mhm,
produce. So there is a lot of business only oriented self-published writers, authors as well. So that's also a thing that I'm noticing. It's not as exclusive to traditional publishing.
mhm,
It kind of trickles down to self-publishing too, which is sad. But the cool thing about self-publishing is that it's so huge because basically everybody and their grandma can write now.
mhm,
So and they can put it into Amazon, so everybody can do it.
mhm,
Therefore, it takes a little bit more of digging, but it means that you have more variety.
mhm,
So I have my eye on the indie publishing industry more than traditional publishing.
mhm,
The only reason why I'm still trying traditional publishing is because I cannot afford. Honestly, that's the only reason I have. I cannot
mhm,
afford an editor for my sci-fi, for my book, for my novel. I can't
Yeah.
afford a professional editor, and I'm blind, so I cannot just drop it on Amazon like, okay, here's my book. No, 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 no.
Mhm.
Honey, I need an editor. I have a visual impairment. Yeah.
Editor, and this is something I've heard. I've heard someone like, not complain, but like make fun of it. It's like, I don't think you understand how writing works. If you're thinking that needing an editor as a writer is some kind of insult to writing. No,
Exactly. That's
literally
no, no, no,
every
no.
writer on the planet needs an editor. Literally
Yeah.
every
It
single
is
one
not something you. It is not something you can skip.
No,
No.
it's like
No.
no. It's like you need redraft.
People no, but like
Draft it.
people tell me, even writers themselves tell me like, oh, but self-publishing is free. I'm like, honey, that's not free. Oh, you just have to put it on Amazon. I'm like, dude, I'm blind.
Well, no, you
Oh, oh,
need
oh,
readers.
yeah, sorry.
You need man. You need, unless you're just gonna do it like if you want a physical book, that's a whole nother process. If you're gonna do
Yeah,
it
you
like
yeah.
ebooks, it's like yeah, but that's always going to be cheaper because instead of having the physical thing, and some people want the physical thing. Rather, I'm
Mhm.
who likes. I do have a Kindle, but
Mhm.
the physical book. Because
I cannot do physical, but I understand that some people will want a physical. The only reason why I'm not doing physical this time around is because it's a short story, so
yeah, well, it would cost more money to make it into book form rather than
mhm.
have it. Yeah, no, I totally understand that because
And it's just a short story. It's not even a collection. It's just one short story. It makes no
yeah,
sense to have it.
yeah,
Makes no sense.
and
But
maybe at some point
but
down the line, if you want to do that, you can always do that. That's not,
yeah, later on. But
yeah, that's not
like
something.
when people tell me, a blind person who speaks English as a second language, that
Hey, you could have
I
told
can
me.
just yeah that I can just drop it on Amazon for free. I'm like, do you think I'm playing?
No,
Oh yeah, you do think. Oh, you do think I'm playing. You're not taking me seriously. That's what you mean. Oh, I see.
Adega's books on Amazon. Adega's books on Amazon, and but he has
But
like,
Adega has an editor.
yeah. Hold on a second. Give me one moment.
Adega, you do have an editor, and you do have people who help you, and you can see. And English is your native language.
Yeah,
You could.
book. It's physical. It's an actual book too. So
Yeah,
guess what,
yeah, yeah,
guys?
yeah, yeah.
This is not something. This is the cover art and then the printing. You don't
Yeah.
do that in your backyard. All right,
No,
it's
you don't.
it's a thing that you're going to have to like. You're actually going to have to get people to do it. Um,
And you need to invest money that I don't have.
you think you can just invent barcodes and just stick them on the back of books? Just fine. You have to pull
No,
up Photoshop
you
and
have to. You have to. Exactly. You have to do an ISBN purchase. You have to do a lot of purchase. Yeah.
on top of that, there's this fun little thing called
Marketing.
copyright. Copyright.
Oh yeah, that too.
Just this fun little thing called copyright.
Oh, and another thing that you have to do. Amazon ads.
It's not just I wrote this thing, slap it up on there. It's like, oh no.
No, 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 no. So when people tell me when
No.
when no when people tell me that I can just put it for free, that I don't have to worry and just self-publish it, I instantly think, one, they don't take me seriously.
Mhm.
Two, they don't want me to succeed. Three, they forget I'm blind. They do.
Mhm.
So it's like I immediately take issue with these people, and I immediately start like taking distance. Like, yeah, very very nice talking with you, but maybe next week, like, yeah, I immediately go like, especially if it's another writer that
Mhm.
tells me that I can just slap it on Amazon for free. Oh, KDP is free. Yeah, the editor is not free. Are you going to pay for my editor? Are you going to pay for my cover designer? Are you going to pay for my book publication? Because if you're going to pay, then yeah, it's free. But if we all know you're not going to pay. So, one, you're not taking me seriously. Two, you don't want me to succeed. Three, you probably forget that I'm blind, or
Mhm.
you think it's a joke or like a brand. It is a brand, but it's not a joke.
Yeah.
It yeah. So like that's the reason why I look at traditional publishing, is just because I cannot afford it. Like, I'm just being very sincere. I have no budget whatsoever, and with this pandemic thing, the little translation job that I had, that was mostly voluntary, so they give you like a tiny stipendium, like pocket money. That's all I had, and now I don't even have that. So like, I have no job whatsoever. We are living off of support, like the support that we get as volunteers and whatever.
Hmm.
That's all we have, and it's for food and stuff like that. I mean, we don't have money to pay a cover designer, to pay an editor, a formatter, and this and that.
Hmm.
I have to look at traditional publishing because I really have no other choice. But then I look at traditional publishing and I get an email like, don't leave your readers behind. Like, you're leaving your readers a little bit behind. Like, you know exactly what you're doing and you're a fantastic writer, but you have to spoon feed them a little bit.
That's
And
kind
I'm
of
like,
insulting, honestly.
no.
I feel like there's a happy medium. And also, Jetsy, I'm going to need you to explain what that means.
To
um,
what?
Jetsy's comment, I would like an explanation for that.
Oh, let me look at it.
He just says, not a natural talent, huh? I don't know. Are you joking? Like, what do you mean by that? I don't know what you mean by that. And I just would like an explanation. That's it. That's all I would want. Uh, yep. Anyway. Hmm. Yeah.
So yeah, it's the 2019 remake of this thing.
Mhm.
It's proof of our time and how it has changed, and how our society reflects on, like, art reflects on our society, and how vapid it's become. And
Mhm.
that hurts. And that hurts because, like, it's horror. It doesn't have to be highbrow intellectual, but it could
Mhm.
be. And it could linger on, because psychological fear lingers.
Yes, it's
As a
that's
zombie slasher doesn't really linger much.
no. It's
So
and
like, we have
it
become,
did it
yeah.
wrong. Sorry, like that's just,
Yeah, I mean, we have just become a vapid society, in the sense that, like I said, you don't have to care for the ending of the movie anymore. You can even leave the movie theater in the middle if you want to, because you already paid for it. So it's all a business now, and
it's
it's
very
like canned
depressing to
food,
think about,
you know.
isn't it? It is. That's
It's
depressing.
depressed. It is depressed. That's why I would love to also find. We have to agree on a book versus a movie to watch together.
Yeah.
So and like, agree on one for the next one, and maybe we can rave about it. Because, like, as writers, we're not here just to talk about, like, the bad shit. We
Mhm.
are here to talk about the bad shit, because we people like drama. People love it. Yeah.
Mhm.
But we also want to find the positive things that we can take from movie adaptations. Like I said, it's a translation, just not a language translation. So you're
Right.
translating one thing from one medium to another, and there's a lot that we could learn.
Yeah.
There's a
No.
lot that we could
100%.
learn from it.
Writing a
I
script
mean,
is different than writing a novel. It is. It's
it
very
is
different.
very different. And we
Mhm.
can learn from, we can take, we can take from from movies, and learn from it, and maybe influence our own writing styles. Make, learn from every medium that you possibly can. I have a friend, a writer friend, and he has a YouTube channel.
Mhm.
I would link you to his YouTube channel, because he
Okay.
has amazing content.
Okay.
And yeah, so the thing is that he used to work with comics. So he used to
Oh,
work for Marvel.
oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. He used to work for Marvel. Okay, the
Okay.
the
Well,
guy, the
throw me
guy
that part. Like,
is, yeah. When I'm back in the laptop, because, like, I'm on the phone, and the phone
oh
cannot
yeah, you're
multi-window.
fine. You're
Yeah.
fine. You're fine.
But as soon as I can, I'm gonna drop you the link. The guy, because the
Mhm.
spelling of the word is, he has a whole wordplay on his name. It's
Okay.
like Story Detective, but like
Mhm.
Story Detective is like story, then the letter D, and then tech, spelled like technology, like tech, and then TIFF.
Mhm.
So Story D. detective. And so the dude worked for Marvel, so he has a lot of knowledge in the original comics, the original things that were done in the 80s back in the day. He has a lot of knowledge of that, and he shares it and tries to explain, kind of like what we're doing here with the movies. He talks about storytelling and character development, but he also brings that knowledge from other mediums of writing. So in his case, comics, original comics and things like that. And he has a lot of knowledge to share. So I love his channel precisely because he is translating something that he has a lot of knowledge on for us, the novel and short story writers, to take a page from that and see how we can evolve on our own creative processes from some other medium, which is something that I mentioned in, I think, the previous stream, is like that I see that how in previous decades, when ironically enough we didn't have this interconnectedness of the internet, there was so much more connection between music and movies and arts and like comics and books. Everything had a connection. Like Led Zeppelin made a Lord of the Rings album, and this other person made a comic about this other thing. So like, the connections were all over the place when we didn't have the connectedness that we have now with the internet. It's ironically stupid. So like that's what I would love to. For example, this is why I also hang out with musicians. Still, I'm a musician, and I try to bring that into my writing a little bit. No, actually, I had someone told me, a writer friend of mine who is also an editor. I did not know that this person was an editor, otherwise I would have been knocking on his door earlier. But he told me that my punctuation wasn't a problem. It is not conventional, and of course it needs some fixing here and there, some suggestions. It could be fixed this was that way for stylistic purposes, blah de blah de blah. Sure, because everybody needs an editor. But the person told me, I see no problem with your punctuation. You are a musician. You punctuate in a way that rings well to you as a musician. You are doing something with sound over there. Just because it's not conventional doesn't mean that it's bad. So like, don't let people tell you that it's bad. It's different, and it could be corrected. It could be enhanced for stylistic purposes, which is what my other editor told me. So it's not the same editor, but someone else. But the other editor was also suggesting me things that would enhance what I was trying to do. But again, I'm a musician. I used to be a musician, so I kind of translate that into my writing. So the connection between one medium and the other, again, that the mutual understanding of different forms of art. I am very rarely seeing that. The latest example I have is, once again, Miss Hildur Gutnadottir, the one who made the soundtrack for Chernobyl and the Joker. I mean, the woman is incredible. The woman has the understanding that I'm talking about, and she translates one thing into another with her music. That's something that I want to see more often.
Tell a story with music if you know what you're doing.
You do.
John Williams
Exactly.
is pretty brilliant at that. I mean,
Johan Johansson was also the other Icelandic. I'm sorry, all the Icelandics. I'm sorry.
It sound like you're like magical when you're saying those things. So,
I'm not Icelandic. Let me clarify that one more time. I'm not Icelandic, but I know how to pronounce their names. So Johan Johansson and Hildur Gutnadottir, those are the two that I'm like, those are amazing. But yeah, John Williams too.
Yeah,
John Williams too.
Of whenever he's made so many he's made so many original scores that are iconic in just American cinema. And maybe even internationally. I don't know. I have never left the country, just FYI.
No problem.
I have, but I mean, just from an American point of view, it's like, it's like nationally just acknowledged as probably one of the greatest composers.
Yeah. But I agree. I mean, I absolutely agree. Like that's a whole. I just have a thing for Icelanders, but
I agree. Joker did an amazing job with the music. I can't pronounce it because, well, I'm really bad at pronouncing even American names and words.
Just you can say Hildur. Hildur would be like the English
Elder.
anglicized. Yeah,
Yeah,
Hildur. Yeah,
sure, that
yeah.
sounds
So
lovely, Hilder.
whatever.
Yeah, it was glorious as always. But hold on a second. Thinking time where a comic creator would create a frog that would generate more excitement for what? Yeah, yeah, I know, right? There's a huge like indie comics is huge right now. Because the art style right now in similarly, all the arts, okay, all of the arts, not just like in books, but you're seeing it kind of among all of them, where it's about quantity over quality,
Yep.
and then they throw some crap in there because they want a virtue signal, but they don't focus on the actual art form. So they're focusing on like everything else but the art form, causing the art form to suffer, which is giving birth to a huge rise in independent arts, just indie arts in
Yeah.
general. Indie
Indie
music,
arts in general.
you have indie comic books, just indie, indie book publishing, indie movies. Film festivals are becoming like a really big thing. It wasn't until a few years ago that I even heard about film festivals. But film festivals are huge, and you don't just need
Yep.
you don't need a whole big budget in order to create something really, really, really good. You don't need millions of dollars in order to do it. You just need creativity and passion and knowing it's going to take a hot minute. That's pretty much all you need.
Don't rush it.
Oh, and talent.
We live in this rushed, everything is so rushed, everything is so like easily consumed. Like I said, canned food, it's a canned food, it's all sounds like that. Everything reads a little bit the same, and my mom is complaining about it all the time. My mom is like, why doesn't every book sound the same? Like, why everything sounds kind of the same? Because it's rushed.
Yeah, young
You're
adult
taking the
novels
same.
are destroyed. That whole genre has been completely destroyed because of that.
Yeah, I don't even read young adult so much. I really
No,
don't.
I
But one of my favorite book series is a young adult series.
which one
So
is it? Out of curiosity.
Lockwood and Co by Jonathan Stroud. Love it.
All right. Oh, and you got a shot. You gotta love it. There you go.
Ye-
Apparently,
Yeah.
your Icelandic pronunciation sounds excellent. So
Wait, hang on. Is there an Icelandic in the chat?
I don't know.
Hang
Colin,
on.
are you? Do you know your Icelandicness? Because I would actually like to know that too. I didn't know I had. If I did, that's awesome. I know the difference between Iceland and Greenland. One is, Iceland is green and Greenland's ice because Vikings wanted to confuse people, if I'm remembering correctly. Could be
That's
wrong.
a joke. No, it's true. Icelanders hate this joke. It's like they are tired of hearing it. Yeah. No, I think the person means that I sound good. Well, thank you.
To me sounds fantastic. Just because, well, I mean, way better than I probably could have. I would have butchered that to all hell.
I have been. I have been practicing for how many years? 3, 4-ish years now. So I have been practicing for a while, and also I have the Icelandic thing enhanced in me right now because of my short story release. I'm so sorry to talk about that so much, but I'm so immersed in it.
You are. Hey, it's a big thing happening in your life. You're getting
published.
published.
And the thing is, I'm gonna release it in audio format on my YouTube channel.
Oh, nice.
So that means, yeah, that like inspired by Adega, maybe.
Did Adega inspire you to do that? And by the way, Colin, he was a British person, not he was just complimenting your accent.
Oh, thank you. No, but like the thing is, if I'm going to release that thing in audio format, I am going to read one of my characters, and my character, the one that I'm going to read, is Icelandic. So I have to practice like the way that she would speak in English. So like Icelanders speaking English, which is not joking on their accent.
Mhm.
No, I am putting a lot of effort into just getting it, just giving my character the
Mhm.
sound that I hear when I hear her in my head. That's why I clarify I am not Icelandic. I have an Icelandic character that is taking a lot of my mental focus, and the accent thing comes out of my mouth
Mhm.
without me really wanting to, because I rehearse a lot for her. So
Yeah.
listening to interviews with Miss Gurnadottir, with this Hildur woman,
Mhm.
listening to a lot of her interviews, listening to mostly her, because she has a very softened Icelandic accent. She doesn't sound as strong as, say, someone who only lived in, say, someone like Björk. Björk
Mhm.
sounds really strong.
Mhm.
Hildur has a more softened one because she lived abroad, and it's become softened a little bit, and that's what I hear. I hear someone who has already traveled and lived and changed a little bit, like mild accent thing, and that's what I'm going for. But like for that, I need to learn how the people speak and listen to them, and like not only English but like their language, because accents are formed based on language, like which language is making this English,
Yeah.
so I have to also listen to how they speak their language. I have to learn a little bit of their language too, so it's like a
I mean, you're
lot
putting
of
a lot of like effort into just so that
into
to
just
create.
getting her
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, I mean, because this
Just getting
audiobook
her right.
with an Icelandic character, if you just come out with your normal accent, it's like it kind of brings the reader out. It takes them out, or the
Mm.
listener, I guess, and you don't want to do that.
I
And
will disclaim, I will always put the disclaimer, I am not Icelandic and I'm not joking on the accent. I just want to give life to my character.
that's
It's
amazing.
not going it's
You
not
know,
gonna be 100, I mean, it's not gonna be 100% accurate, and I will apologize for that.
I
But
mean,
I cannot pay a narrator, and I don't have a friend in Iceland who would do that for me. I have friends in Iceland, but not that close to ask them for that favor, so I will do it myself.
that's
If somebody
admirable.
if somebody later wants to do it over there in Iceland, they are welcome to replace me. Absolutely. But
Yeah, I
but
mean,
like the other character is British, and
mhm.
I have a friend with the accent in place, so I just asked my friend, hey, you want to read this character? And my friend said yes. So I was like, cool, let's do this.
Uh,
So yeah, like that ties back to what I have been saying throughout this whole stream, is that people don't put that same amount of dedication. I
mhm,
rarely see that people put that amount of dedication into a project,
mhm,
precisely because we live very rushed, and everything is like a big business, and things have to come out. Like there is
mhm.
something in indie publishing that's called rapid release.
That already
I
sounds
could never.
cool.
Yeah, no, it could be good. It could be good. People are good. I'm not saying that rapid release is bad. No.
Okay,
Could be
like
good. Could be good, but like, you know, it's a concept, because we are living in a rushed
just
world.
that just
And
makes me
and
anxious thinking about it. So
yeah,
I'm just like,
I have
oh
a I have accepted that I
no.
cannot do it.
No,
There are
I
people who
can't. I'm
can,
a perfectionist to like
but
the very end. I can't do that kind of stuff.
mm,
Ugh.
yeah, but that's one of the traps of the indie publishing market. It's
Mhm.
one of the traps. So like one of the traps is publishing for free. Like, just throw it on KDP, on KDP, and good luck. That's one of the traps that a lot of inexperienced people fall into. The
Mhm.
other one is rapid release, that people have to produce, because readers have to be kept happy, and they want to read the next thing tomorrow. And so rapid release is another thing that happens.
If you're doing
And
it
those
chapter
who,
by
yeah,
chapter, I could understand that. If you're releasing a whole new thing, you're gonna drive yourself crazy, or
but
you
yeah,
have to have stuff
but
lined up before you start doing something like that. Like you couldn't just
that's one of
yeah.
the tricks. That's
Mhm.
that's one of the tricks, that people are working on like 3 or 4 books ahead of time, so they can rapid release a series.
Mhm.
That's one of the tricks.
Yeah.
The other tricks are like improving your drafting speed. that's something I cannot do, because once again, I'm blind. I don't know how to do that, and I do a lot of research, and I
No,
write
I'm not, and
sci-fi that's gonna take me. Yeah,
no,
but like I'm just talking about that because, like, since we were discussing the 2019 thing,
hmm
the whole points that I'm bringing up in this conversation is because, like, as a writer, this is what I see around me, and it brings a little bit of explanation to why things feel so rushed and so so cheap.
hmm
Is because the industry in itself, like the supply and demand, the market in itself, like the ubiquitous market, forces people into just rush it, just do it, just do it now. It's this kind of mentality. It's really, I
Yeah,
don't have a solution. And I'm very sad to nearly end the stream with that kind of phrase. It really
well,
makes me sad.
I
I
think
don't have a solution,
I think
but
there is a solution, but it's going to get a lot worse before it gets better. Um,
mm,
there is going to be something. How to put this? The market is already oversaturated. What's going to have to
mhm,
happen is the market's going to have to crash. And what
yeah,
that's going to do is it's going to bring indie publishing into the light. Um, and this is something similar that's kind of happening with Hollywood. And actually, so the best example is in comic books right now. Is the comic book industry is crashing and burning and failing, and the indie comic book creators are making bank because there's still a desire to have comic books, but the quality that the mainstream is producing is very low compared to what the indie creators are doing. So it's like that's where every art form is going to have to go at some point, because it's
yeah,
almost as though they are. Um, it's almost like in order to make things better, the what everyone is used to has to get so awful that they turn to this other thing. They turn to independent creations and creators. Um, it's like cable TV is dying here. YouTube is kind of, and the idea of YouTube is growing bigger. Um, it's it's
mm,
basically this thing has stagnated because it didn't have any competition, and when something so a competition brings in something like
yeah.
something of much
That's
higher
when,
quality.
yeah, that's, yeah.
Exactly. When some competition brings in something of higher quality, people are going to realize how bad the thing had stagnated and move in. And so you either need to adapt and improve what you're doing, or you're going to collapse. And again, like I said, that is exactly what's happening in the comic book industry right now. That is what's going to happen in the book publishing business. It's going to happen in the movie industry. It's going to happen. It's something's going to give, and something's going to cause people to turn to something else. And it's the cycle. That is a cycle that does happen. We are just in a very interesting part of the cycle right now, where we're like on the cusp of things breaking in several different art forms, not just one. We're not just talking about a collapse of the movie industry. We're talking about a widespread art forms of basically every kind collapsing and independent creators rising from that. It's very interesting to watch. Now, am I hoping that it hurries itself up and we kind of get to the post era of that, which is the much nicer when the pendulum starts swinging back? Yes, I'm really hoping the pendulum hurries up and goes back, and
Yeah.
I'm not having to deal with like the absolute worst portions when I'm trying to get my book done. Same
Mm-hmm.
because it's like, man, like if y'all could hurry up and just get over this, whatever this thing is that y'all are dealing with, that'd be great, because it's going to negatively affect me, and it's going to negatively affect a lot of other people. Um,
It's already negatively affecting me, and a lot of people. Like, it's
yes,
just it's just like, you cannot write about what you want. You cannot do what you want. You don't have that creative control anymore
Mhm.
because the other thing is the market is the one that the traditional industries are the ones with the money, therefore the power, because they are the ones who can distribute and advertise massively their crap. It's harder for an indie author or artist or musician or whatever, an indie artist. It's very
Mhm.
hard, a lot harder for an artist to distribute their art, to get themselves known, because they don't have the same kind of budget,
Yeah.
and the same kind of contacts and the same kind of everything. So it's
Yeah.
harder. So at the moment, we are at this point where the one with the money rules, but the one with the money is the one producing crap.
Yeah, and
So it,
swing back.
yeah.
It has to. It just has to, because then we're just not gonna have art anymore, guys. Like, that's the point. And this is something interesting that was brought up. That his
Mm-hmm.
friend released his first book on Amazon, saying he can always make edits later. He released it knowing it had lots of errors. I just can't think of it. I have no idea how, like, you, as like just a person who was passionate enough and gave enough of a shit to actually sit down and write something, just be okay with releasing it with errors.
No.
Actually, in the
Yeah,
video game industry, that's the other thing too.
I
So,
have a big respect for you. I have a big respect for you because you're very brave. I give
it's
you
okay.
that.
His friend. It's not the guy's not actually in the chat. It's his friend. But yeah, it just being able to publish it, cool. But like knowing you were gonna have to, it's like I can always edit it later. It's like, yeah, you edit it before you publish it. That's how that works, because people, let me tell you something, people who read your
Uh-uh.
book are not going to then reread it when you make those corrections. They're not going to do that. They're going to be like, wow, this had a lot of bad.
First impression, first impressions, honey.
Yep.
First impressions.
So you've lost anybody who clicks on that book with those errors in it. You've lost them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh god,
And
oh Jesus.
and they are and they're giving indie publishers a bad name in the
Yeah,
process.
spelling errors, grammar issues, basic logic destroying his entire. Oh God, that is
No, no,
that's
no, 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 no,
that's
no,
amateur
no,
hour.
no.
Like, I'm sorry to say it,
Yeah,
but like, and it's not like, I mean, but hell, as an amateur, technically myself saying that, it's like, no.
we recognize amateurs because we are starting over and we know it.
Hmm. Yeah.
So like that's I'm sorry, but that's, I mean, it's brave, and I will give you props for that. Like your friend, I will give your
Hmm.
friend props for that. It's very brave,
But
but it's just not the right process to do that. It's just
no,
not. No, it
no.
doesn't go. There's a That's exactly what I have been talking about the whole
Hmm.
stream, like after the movies thing. That's
Hmm.
what I've been talking about. Like that's why I say, hey, I have no budget. Like I have to be careful how I go about these things. So I started a few things that could help me with a little bit of budget. That's how I could pay the editor for the short story. um I had some supporters. Some people found me and they support me, and I saved up a little bit that way, and that's how I paid an editor.
Hmm.
But I could only pay the editor, so I'm trying to work on cover design myself, and that's a learning curve, and that's going to be really hard. But I'm trying, and I have 2 months to do
Hmm.
that, 2-ish months to do that. So like I'm working on it, and I'm working hard on it. So like, you know it's a process. You cannot rush it. Like your friend published just to like, again, it's what we were talking about. The movie had errors, and no one corrected them. And what happened there?
Huge
you know
errors. Like, just,
exactly.
you know,
it,
it, it
it's it's precisely what we have been talking about. It's like you have to sit down and like be very introspective about like how do you go about adapting a piece
hmm.
or writing a piece. You have to be very introspective and very, I wouldn't say analytical, but kind of, that's what I'm trying to say,
Criticism
that
is wonderful in that instance.
I mean, that kind of self-criticism, that kind of positive
Yes,
self-criticism,
constructive
the one that makes you think, the one that makes you think, like what I've been trying to say the whole stream is like, okay, I don't want to just complain. I want to like find a solution, and I want to like come up with something that could be done. That's what I'm talking about, because that's exactly what that's the mindset that I'm into, is like, okay, but how can I improve this? And when I realize that something is wrong, then I'm like, oh crap! I mean, it's so wrong, and then it's sad. Sometimes it is, but you sit with yourself and you think, okay, we have to think of an alternative. What can I do about this? And that's the self criticism that we're lacking. People are afraid of constructive criticism. Constructive.
Yes, I
That's
understand destructive criticism. It's not helpful. It's just it's not helpful. So
yeah, but people are afraid of it. Like there's so many factors that we have discussed just in this particular stream alone. But I think we went all these tangents today precisely because you had a 1989 adaptation versus a 2019.
yes,
So we are seeing a 20, no, hang on, 30
30, yeah.
30-year difference, and then like a major, like 30-year difference between films, and how the times have changed. And this is why we went on all these tangents, is because there are so many, yeah, it's important to talk about like all the changes. And since I have heard a lot of people in this corner of YouTube, people in this community, people who frequent your chat, this is why I brought that up, because we have so many factors that contribute to this nonsense that we're in at the moment.
Exactly.
And it's important to just bring it up and speak about it. And I love that Eris is another writer, so we can just talk about it. It's like someone who's also into this, and someone who understands it. Because like I am in the corner of YouTube that's called AuthorTube. So it's like a bunch of writers. That's why I do the live streams that I do, is like with writing sprints, so people can write on their stories and stuff. That's the whole concept of the streams over there. It's a whole niche. But like, not all the writers in the AuthorTube community, because we are so into our books, we are so into our own thing, because we're trying to produce, producing a novel or more, or 2 or 3 or 10, it's massive. It's a lot of work. So it's rare to find someone like Eris to talk about movies at the same time, and she guides me with the movies. Because like I said, I have been in a slump because I'm doing my own thing over here. But it is important to bring all these connections together. I'm so happy that this community exists, precisely because we can talk about this whole other things that many people don't consider. Seriously, my writer brother has to hang out here at some point. I'm gonna bring him up at some point.
Oh yeah, I would love to.
At some point,
we can bring him on one of these, actually. Talking about that, or just since we kind of wanted to, I think we wanted to make this like a monthly thing. And yes, it's close enough. August 1st was close enough to July. Okay, so shush.
Yeah, last weekend was very hard for me because I had so many things going. Like I had a Zoom conference. Eris had the movie panel with Loki, and what else do we have at the? I had another stream in the morning.
You
was
had
crazy.
3 streams or something, and I was just like, it's okay. We'll do it.
and then you had your panel in the afternoon. So we couldn't find something last Saturday, but we're gonna do this like a monthly thing.
Yeah,
it's gonna be a monthly thing. Do you have an idea that we could compare for the next time? Like some.
No. I mean, let's see. La, la, la. No.
Has somebody talked about them? Has somebody in this community? Because I have missed a lot of streams, and I do apologize for that. I'm not ignoring people. I'm just working on my own thing over here, so that's why I brought it up. It's like, guys, I have been in my own shell. I have been in my own shell for good reasons. But has somebody? Has somebody talked about The Mummy yet?
The Mummy, like, what are we talking about? Which one?
The book and the movie.
I didn't know there was a book. There's a book? Like the Brendan
Yeah, there's a
Fraser
book.
mummy. There's a movie, a book
Mm,
based off of it, or what are we talking about? Which movie?
The the I know there's a movie, but I don't know if it's the same. The Mummy. The original one, the one that was written around the same time Frankenstein was written. In that time period. That
I
was
mean,
the book.
no, I don't think.
By
Has
yeah, by
anyone?
Jane.
Sorry, I'm interrupting you.
Have you guys talked?
No.
No. I mean internet lag.
Oh,
Yeah, internet lag.
okay.
Yeah, we have a lag. Sorry.
Okay. You're fine. You're fine. I just want
No, but
to over you. I'm sorry.
there is the book called The Mummy by Jane Loudon. So I have that book. It's in the public domain. I have it.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
but like, has any is the movie that adaptation from that book?
I
I
have
have to
no.
do some research.
Oh,
Okay,
we'd have
that could be an
to.
option.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
That could be an option for next episode.
yeah. I mean, there's
Or what about War of the Worlds? 1980. Okay, War of the Worlds in 1984 book versus movies. We can do that.
all right. We can do
Or
that, and
because War of
then
the Worlds has had a lot of remakes,
yeah, yeah,
right?
it has. And I think
Like
it was
War of the Worlds had
like
remakes,
a
right?
video
Yeah,
game at some point too. I don't know. It was, I um hmm.
yeah. So that
Yeah.
could be War of the Worlds, maybe 1984,
Mhm.
and we'll leave it at that. We can bring two and talk about those two.
Yeah. I mean,
Cool.
yeah, we can talk about the mummy. We can talk about War of the Worlds next time. Gives me a chance to try something new. Get some
Mm-hmm.
see about those comparisons, and then
Sure.
um
We're not, maybe we're not living it, like it's not fixated, because like maybe we find something else across the throughout the month, like,
yeah.
hey, let's talk about this one instead. So could change, but like just suggestions so
Yeah.
we can both like look it up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And yeah, I mean, and then like your friend, we can go. This is a monthly thing. Just like at some point, whenever, if like he's free, cool. We can just roll with that.
Yeah,
We can kind of have
I
like
might
a
just talk.
whole
I might just talk to him about it. I might
yeah,
just bring him. Hey, you! But I'm just gonna drag him here. Like, hey, you! Stop being so shy and let's talk about movies and books and stuff and
yeah.
whatever. And so people can get to know him too. He's an amazing writer. I have read his book, and that's why I can say that, because I have already read his thing, and I believe in this person. Is the same person I'm writing
Mhm.
a book with.
Right?
It's the same person I'm writing a sci-fi horror with. So it's like, hey, you, come here.
Is he the one
I'm
that was the
dragging you.
Marvel
I'm
writer, or
dragging you with me.
is he the former comic book guy, or was that a different person? Am I getting them mixed up?
No. Is the other, no, don't mix them up. No, the
So
comic guy, the comic book guy
is
is
someone
another
you
one. But
enjoy
my writer
his
my
brother?
writer okay, no, my writer brother is that the British dude who's gonna read
Okay,
with me.
I got you.
That's
All right,
that's
cool. All right, awesome. I just wanted
the
to make
one who's
sure.
also a Terry Pratchett fan.
Yeah.
The other one, the same one who's like a fan of Terry Pratchett. So that guy, I'm gonna
Okay.
drag him wherever I'm going.
All
You're
right.
coming with me.
All right. Well, yeah. No, 100%. I'm always down for meeting new people and having different guests all over my streams. So, oh yeah, down for that.
I'll tell him about it if he feels like coming to these things, because again, shy people, shy
All right. I'm
people.
an introvert
But
too.
yeah. So we will see. I don't promise anything, but like we can make a whole, World of Worlds versus, I don't know, whatever, anything else that we find on the way.
we
But I
got
thought of those because they have remakes.
we got
So
purple attention by saying Discworld. So yeah, that's like her favorite book series.
yeah, I know. I know. Oh wow. Well, you two should hang out.
Okay.
You two should. They should hang out if they both love Discworld so much.
Mhm.
That's yeah, Discworld. Yeah, I see it now.
Doing this. We're making friends. We're reaching across communities. It's gonna be awesome. So doing some.
I am always
And then,
connecting.
oh, sorry.
Uh huh.
Go.
No,
I
I
was
see a comment.
I would say he says, I understand you do book movie comparisons. In this, like, so Dal and I kind of like last time, like really hit it off. So we decided to make this like a monthly show. This is not like every single weekend because I do like streams on Saturdays and then Wednesday evening streams. So this happens like once a month because she and I are both very busy and we can't like read a book and watch a movie like every week. That would be insane.
No. I'm working hard on my writing, and I am a bit slow. So, like, this blind alien cannot possibly. So we're doing it like once a month.
Yeah, it's like once a month thing.
Huh?
And then we could do like if you want to catch up, we can do it at the end of this month on like the 29th. Just gonna roll with that. And apparently, Purple would love to talk to your friend. So.
Oh yes. Yeah, sure. He's gonna kill. He's gonna kill me. He's like, why are you talking? Why are you doing this? I'm like, dude, you need promotion.
There you go.
I'm gonna be your manager now. Make friends. I'm just all right. Purple. You're gonna forgive me, but I'm just gonna tag you on a tweet with together. So like, be friends. You like this world? There, tag. that's gonna be. I'm so sorry. I have to finish. By the way, Discworld, does it have movies?
I think Colin P says that there were movies as well. I feel like Purple's told me there was movies. I'm like not at all a Discworld.
Dude. Okay, hon. Okay, hon. No, if there are, we are doing Discworld next.
Well, I'll have to read them. Hold on.
Okay, let's do it. Let's start where people tell us to start. Let's start with book 4. Does that have a movie?
Purple, tell us the secrets to this world.
Purple is going to be our guide into this. Like, Purple, is there a movie for Discworld book 4? Is there a movie for Mort? Because I'm listening to the book. I'm listening to Mort, so I'm already into the book. Is there a movie? Because then we can talk about that.
Because how I got drug into reading Discworld. It was on my list. It was just further down on my list. But hell, I mean, there's so many of them. But being able to like actually discuss. The first two. Okay, so the first 2 books were adapted into movies. So she said start at book 4 and then go back to the first 2.
So the first 2. Okay, we have to go to the first 2 then. Okay. Yeah, make your friends, maybe, sometimes.
Well, this is funny because someone brought this up because we were talking about like quantity over quality. And how familiar are with George R.R. Martin? Game of Thrones.
I know the guy. I know the name. I know there's a lot of sex in his things, so I don't watch it.
Oh, it's okay. I was just wondering, like, if you knew about him. Let me see if I can find it. If I passed it, there's a good chance I passed it. Where is the comment on the George R. R. Martin? I'm doing this. I've been doing this for too long. Oh no. Let me see. Hold on. Anyway, someone was commenting. I was gonna give them credit, but I don't remember who it was. Someone commented that George R. R. Martin is the opposite of quantity over quality because he recently came out with announcing to basically everyone that he's not finishing his book series. How do you like that? How like your book series gets a whole HBO like show dedicated to it and becomes one of the biggest like things in fantasy since Lord of the Rings. How do you like to just be like, yeah, I haven't written another book in this series for like 8 years, and I'm just gonna let everyone know that I'm not going to write it. I'm not gonna do it, basically. How do you like that? You don't get a conclusion on the book series. What the hell? That is like the opposite.
Well, I mean,
Rude.
Yeah, I mean, he. I never really cared because, like I said, he has a lot of sex in his things, and
Yeah, I
so
know, but
I'm
like
like, that's
on
irrelevant.
the concept of
Mm.
an author making money, making tons of money, getting people like millions of people invested in this story. The show ends. The show ends very poorly. A really awful conclusion.
Yep.
So of course, people are turning to the author, being like, "Hey, you wrote this, so clearly you're going to finish it, right? Like you're going to finish this series, and you're going to give us a better conclusion, right?" And then just for him to come out and be like, "No, I'm not. I'm not going to. I'm basically not going to conclude this book series." So all you
But
get,
he did that because he already made the money. You
yeah,
see,
that's what I'm talking about. It's like, how disgusting is that? That's so awful.
he is simply contributing to the problem with the arts today. He already made his buck. He doesn't give a fuck.
He didn't really just like he basically said that he wasn't. It's in like 8 years, almost a decade since he's published another book. He is an older man.
Yeah.
He's talked about he's I think writing another book.
Okay.
Instead of that
Okay.
one,
So
which isn't really connected to it, which means the likelihood because there's supposed to be like I think 2 more books in the series, which means the
okay.
likelihood of him doing it. So by him admitting that he's going to be doing another book instead of that, after 8 years of not publishing it, you can draw the conclusion that he has basically just said, "I'm not finishing this series," which is a terrible thing to do. And honestly, I
Yeah.
would
I
be forgiven personally if someone
I'm
went and
I'm
destroyed my.
glad I'm glad you bring it up that he's an older man because that's true. I understand. I
Mhm.
absolutely get that. That's a part. Like, I just think that the money factor also has. I'm sorry, but
Mhm.
yeah, he already made the buck out of it.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah,
that's pretty much what.
he is already established. He already made the buck. So the though you're right, he's an older man. He wants to move on to another thing.
Mhm.
So it's a mix of both. It's a mix of what he said and the fact that he's already big enough to not care. You know,
Yeah,
people are disappointed. People are disappointed. People want a better conclusion. People,
mhm,
he will do what is best for himself
mhm,
and what he
yeah.
wants to do with his life and and that's okay. Totally get it. But yeah, like
You
again,
should
it's a
finish
problem.
the series, yeah,
Yeah.
that you started. Because well, I don't know how you can be. It's like you could get to the point that you're so big that your publishing company doesn't care that you don't finish your book series. Because I would think the publishing company would step in at some point and be like, "So, um,
Yeah,
we're
but I mean, the
we're
publishing company doesn't care either because they have new debut authors to care about because that's another problem of the industry. They are
mhm,
so focused on debut after debut. Yeah, who's the debut of the year?
mhm,
You know, that's the industry is just focused on who's a newbie of the year. Who's the new author? Who's the new next big hot thing?
mhm,
That's another problem. The debut culture. You
mhm."
know,
Yeah, I just think it's really
so
bad practice to do that.
it's terrible practice, but then again, it's just a quick business. We
So dis-
always go back to that.
oh, it's so heartbreaking. It's like I didn't read the books. I only watched the show. And I'd considered reading the books, but then I'd heard like, oh, it's been a while since you've done this. Oh, it's this and oh, it's that and man,
Mm.
like
I'm
I
just I'm just concerned. I'm just concerned because the whole amount of sex in it, and I don't care for that. Like
mm,
I if I know that it's there, I am already like, oh well, I mean, I guess it's enjoyable for other people, but not for me. So I
I
am
think
already
sex scenes are kind
I'm already in the
of
mindset
awkward.
of nah. I'm already in the mindset of nah.
Yeah,
Like nah.
yeah. It's just like how I just don't understand that. I would feel awful, and especially how the series concluded, which is what got people kind of it got it started.
Really,
It was
yeah.
awful. It was an awful series,
Yeah.
and so I would be inspired. That would be like a kick in my ass to like get on that book series.
I will be
So
like,
could get
well, I
people-
can of course make it
Yeah.
better.
Well, I could like, well, it's like, well, I'm going to give these people what they want. You know, like,
Yeah.
hey, they destroyed my IP in these last few seasons. Why I need to go out and I need to finish this series and give these people a proper conclusion. And you would have, good Lord, you would have won people back with that. Just by doing that, just from that move alone, rather than, you know, even if people didn't read the books, just from that move alone was, in my opinion, would have been more like an integrity type of thing. I just don't, God, man, it is,
Yeah.
it's heartbreaking.
Integrity. I
Yeah.
mean, integrity. That's key here. Like that's something that a lot of people are lacking. So the realities of this industry. The realities of this industry. My God, we have been streaming for 4 hours. Woo.
Yeah. So I think we're gonna come in here speaking of 4 hours.
Yeah, for next month. No, for like but that's
Yeah.
good. For next month, we're rather gonna go this
Probably
world
gonna-
because
Yeah.
purple, maybe, or we're gonna do World of Worlds and who knows what else. But like we have ideas for next month. I'm coming back for sure. I'm gonna make people become friends.
Oh,
He's
yeah,
gonna
we're
kill
make
me.
friends. We're gonna
He's gonna
drag
kill
people.
me.
We're gonna drag people into becoming friends.
Yeah.
Oh, that's such a
Hey,
joy.
he's my co-author now. He's gonna put. I mean, he doesn't know what he got into himself into. I'm gonna promote the crap out of this person, and now I have an excuse to do so because we're writing a book together.
Already, Jetsy, sweetheart, we've been going for 4 hours. I've been literally running on coffee. So like, I need to get up. I've been sitting here. I need to get up and do things. She needs to do things. Hell, I didn't even know. It doesn't feel like 4 hours. It feels like it's been 20 minutes.
Yeah,
but
I love talking to Aries and people in the chat. This has been awesome. It's not that we want to cut it, it's just that I actually saw the clock and I was like,
Yeah.
my God.
Dude, 6 p.m. here, man. I got things to do, and I didn't even realize.
Food. We need food. My
Yes.
my phone needs to charge. Things.
We can go do human things.
And alien things in my case, but yes, I need to do alien business. I have to work on that thing that I'm working on. I have to make that Twitter thing with Purple and my friends so they can become friends before they go to sleep. So but
Alright.
thank you, Aries. Thank you for having me.
And we will talk to y'all next time. Next month, maybe the 29th of October. We'll figure it out in the next.
We'll figure it out, but by the end of the month, we'll be back.
We'll be back. So thank you everyone for being here, and we will see you later. Bye.
Bye.